named. There is no other name given among men whereby mankind can and must be saved, saving the name of Yahshua the Messiah. And 10, to inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah, with the hope of immortal glorification in the new earth state. Our watchword is peace, and our slogan is speak the truth.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we're going to have a prayer by, let's see, Miranda, if you could lead us in prayer, if you can unmute yourself for me.
Okay. Let us bow our heart. Let us bow our heart and mind for prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Yahweh, we are indeed thankful and grateful for another opportunity to assemble with the brethren in this manner. We are thankful that you have more so assembled us in this last day and time in our heart, in our mind. We are thankful that you woke us this morning, clothed in our right mind, still knowing of whom all things are of. We are thankful for your long-suffering mercy and grace, and for making us to be partaker of this divine vision and revelation in light. We are thankful for all the brethren's hearts that you have moved to be on this call, and for continuously showing yourself unto us and revealing to us that down through these perilous times that you are our guard, shield, and protection. As we gather tonight, we ask that you still our heart and mind, give us that we need on an individual basis, so that we will have that we need to fight off the wiles of this adversary. These are all blessings we ask in thy son's name, Yahshua the Messiah. Let us all say hallelujah.
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 All right, thank you for that. All right, good evening again, everybody. My husband reminded me that I was not recording when we first started. We're recording now, so I'm going to say good evening again. Welcome to the Basics and Foundations call. Yeah, we called the aims, but we didn't catch like the very beginning. This is the Basics and Foundation call, session number 3, I believe. We are on Exodus 6 through 10, I think, as the chapters that we started on this week. And we're going to jump right in because I see we have a lot of people. We have 30 participants so far on, and I want to make sure I have everybody's names down. We're not going to do teams tonight. It's going to be a little bit different learning session tonight. There's people joining in. We can give it a second. Ooh, you're talking about tired. Been up since 6 o'clock this morning. Just got through with my last client 2 minutes before we started the call. All right. So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I know you tired, Carl.
I'm worn out, but it's all right. Let's see.
But you know what, Carla?
Hmm.
I almost didn't call in. This is Paula. I almost didn't call in because I can understand how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it got to the fourth aim, it was like, Yahshua, that's all I can say. To continue, so I can understand.
I couldn't even think of it to help you. I couldn't even I completely understand. All right, so let's see. I'm going to do roll, and some of the phone numbers that some of you that dialed in, I may not know the phone number right off, so I'm going to take roll real quick. I got Helen Watson. I'm not going to call last name. I got Helen, Vanessa, David, Shalia, Felicia, Mike, Paula, Shirley, Miranda, Teresa. I'm going to try to mute whoever it is out. Somebody's background's kind of loud. Let's see. I got it. Teresa, Larry, Maria, Kenneth, Dorothy Jones, Mandy, Charmaine, Dolores, Eugene, Tina, Lasagna, Miguel, DJ, Miss Janie, Renee, and did I miss anybody? That I know I missed the ones that dialed in, but I know Miss Phyllis is dialed in. She's actually working. Who else do we have dialed in? Let's see. Let me look real quick. Miss Jamie down. I got Miss Jamie.
Yeah, Eugene.
Yeah, I got Eugene already. I got Miss Sheila, my mother-in-law. I know she's working though. She's just listening in. Who is the 813 number? Number 813. Okay, so what we're gonna do, if I can get you guys to whoops, got somebody else joining in. I'm not assigning teams. Okay. All right. So if I can get you guys to like do the raise your hand thingy, little icon thing in your little screen, so I can see who wants to participate tonight. Because I don't want to call on anybody if they're not, want to participate tonight. I don't want to call anybody out. So if y'all can click like the little hand clap thing, like if you click on reactions, you can either do like the hand clap. If y'all look at my stuff. Okay, so I got Shirley, Tina, Felicia. I already know Vanessa, Eugene.
How you do that?
I got you, Ms. Dorothy. Don't worry about it. Paula, I know Paula's going to participate. Brenda. Some of y'all are going to have to participate regardless. So let's see. Renee is participating. Who else? Maria is participating. And sometimes they go away. Vanessa, I already got you. You know I got you. Let's see. I know Tina is participating. Mandy, are you participating? I didn't know if you did your thing or not. Mandy, are you participating? Are you just going to listen in tonight? I can't hear Mandy. What about you, Kenneth? Are you just listening tonight? Okay, you are participating. Cool, gotcha. All right. Kenneth is participating. Dolores Renee is participating. Charmaine is participating. Teresa, did I see Teresa's hand up? Where's Teresa? Teresa, are you participating tonight?
No, I'm gonna just listen in.
Gotcha. Okay. Shalia, did I see your hand up?
No, I'm just gonna listen.
Okay. All right. Mike may have to just listen to the mic. Mike got to sleep on him. Okay. Okay, let's see. Larry, I know Larry just joined again. Larry, are you participating? I can't hear you if you say anything. All right. Let's see. Miss Dorothy is. Miguel is. I'm not asking him. I'm telling him.
I'm listening.
Okay, Larry. Thank you. DJ, are you participating? Or are you just listening? You gotta unmute yourself. I can't hear you if you say anything. All right. Okay, so this is what we got. I got Helen, Vanessa, David, Alicia, Paula, Shirley, Miranda, Maria, Kenneth, Dorothy, Charmaine, Dolores, Eugene, Tina, Miguel, and Renee. The first part of the class tonight, we're going to play popcorn. This is what I do with my kids. My kids love popcorn. Y'all old. Y'all have no clue what I'm talking about. This is the young generation thing. I'm gonna put y'all on game, okay? So this is what popcorn is for my old heads who don't know what it is. Vanessa looking like, what is that? All right, so popcorn, I'm gonna start out with the question, okay? I may ask Vanessa a question. If she can answer it, she answers it, she gets the point. If she can't answer, she can popcorn to somebody else, that means pass it to somebody else. The next person gets the popcorn or get a chance to answer the question. And then if she does answer right, she still has the popcorn. So you popcorn either way. We're going to just ask questions from Exodus 1 through 10, just to kind of get y'all refreshed on it. And then after we get through questions round, we're going to do the lightning round. And so you will have 3 minutes. And this is going to be voluntarily only. I'm not going to pick on anybody. Volunteer only to get started. Well, you have 3 minutes to start. The first speaker will start in Exodus, the first chapter, and start giving, in order, a brief, rundown of everything that happened from Exodus 1 through 10. After 3 minutes is up, the next person comes behind that person, pick up wherever they left off, if they missed anything, you pick up what they missed, and then keep on going. And the next person, so we're gonna play relay, lightning round relay after we do the questions. So, and then after that, we'll kind of give what we got out of what we've read. We'll kind of go through that briefly. I'm gonna have to put a time limit on y'all, so y'all don't get winded. All right. So this is from Exodus 1 through 10. All right. Yes, Tina, you got a question? No? Okay. I saw your little clap hand thing, hand clap thing.
I was just ready to go. I'm ready.
Oh, no. All right. So that's Mariah's mama. I know Mariah's mama ready to go. Mariah be the main one. Okay. So let's see. We're going to start out with Miguel. Miguel, you're first. Unmute yourself and get ready for the first question. You can popcorn if you don't know the answer, or you can answer the question and then popcorn. Miguel, the first question is, what tribe of Israel was Moses from?
I just looked at it. Oh man.
You can popcorn. Pass it on to somebody else.
Popcorn me.
All right, popcorn Vanessa.
All right, Vanessa. What tribe of Levi? What tribe was Moses from?
Born of the Levi tribe.
Right, of the tribe of Levi. All right, popcorn. Popcorn somebody else.
Popcorn. Who else out there? Everybody out there. Popcorn Dolores.
What's the question? Okay. You don't have a question yet, so I got popcorn to you. All right, Dolores. What was Moses' two sons' names? Popcorn. Dolores, you're still muted. I can't hear you. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do it now. It was Gershom and Eleazar.
Very good.
Okay.
Yep, very good.
Okay.
Popcorn.
Let me see. I'm passing it to someone.
Yep.
Well, I haven't talked to my friend Mike, my little nephew Michael.
Thank you. What's up, Auntie?
All right.
Hey, sugar, how you doing?
All right.
All right. Dr. Carter, what was Aaron's grandson's name?
Ooh. Phineas.
Very good. All right. I tried to give you a hard one. Well, it wasn't really hard, but tried to throw you off a little bit. All right. Popcorn.
Let me see who's out there. Popcorn, Tina.
Tina, what were the two Hebrew midwives' names?
Shipra and Pua.
Very good. Tina got a point. Popcorn.
Renee.
Renee, what was the second plague that Yahweh put on Egypt?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. You said what was the second plague?
Yes, ma'am. The second plague that Yahweh put on Egypt.
The second plague was frogs.
Very good. Popcorn.
Let's see. Shirley?
Shirley, all right. Shirley, what was Moses' father-in-law's real name?
Ruel.
Very good. Popcorn.
Janie, my mama, Miss Janie.
All right, Miss Janie, what was the land called that Moses fled to after he killed the Egyptians? What was the name of that land? Miss Janie? Let me see if I can unmute her because I think she's still muted out. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Was it Kangaroo Land?
No, ma'am. You can popcorn to somebody else, though.
David.
David, what was the name of the land that Moses fled to after he killed the Egyptians?
The land of Midian.
Very good. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn.
Eugene.
All right, for Eugene. Where's my question? Where'd it go? Oh, my screen went out. Hold on. What were the 3 signs that Moses took down into Egypt?
First, it was take the rod and throw it on the ground, and it became a serpent.
Mm-hmm.
And took his hand into his bosom, and it became leprosy.
Mm-hmm.
And to take a basin
Mm-hmm.
and pour the water upon the ground, it should turn to blood.
Very good. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. You can pass it to somebody else.
I don't know everybody's name, Carl, so you just call somebody.
Miranda.
Oh, you just pass it to somebody, name whoever you know. Yeah, Miranda
Okay.
would be fine. Who did you say?
Miranda.
All right, Miranda, what was Moses' parents' name? Miranda, where's Miranda? Yep, there you go. Can you hear me, Miranda?
Yeah, I do. I hear you.
Okay. All right. Moses' parents' name.
Let's see. Moses' parents. Amram and Jochebed. Jacob.
Very, very good. All right. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn.
Miss Paula.
Miss Paula.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it go?
Please be nice. I'm tired and I'm praying.
All right. What was the first plague that Moses performed in Egypt? What was the first plague?
It was the first plague. Oh, and I was just looking at it. The rivers turned to blood, I think.
Very good. Yes, ma'am. Popcorn, popcorn.
All right. Janice.
Let's see. Who?
Did you say Janice Welch was on the phone? On the line?
No, she's not. No, she's not. Not that I know of.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I got the hi. Okay.
I still have who. So let me call out who has not gone yet. Helen, Felicia, Maria, Kenneth, Dorothy Jones, Charmaine, and yeah, those are the ones that have not had a chance to go yet.
Okay, Charmaine.
All right, Charmaine, how old was Moses and Aaron when they went into Pharaoh? You gotta unmute yourself.
Okay.
I thought that was the easy one.
How old were they?
Yeah.
Well, Aaron's what, 3 years? 80? 80. Was he 80?
Okay.
And
Which
that
one? Who was
means
80?
Moses, and then that means that Aaron was 83?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sugar. Exodus 7 and 7. Yes, ma'am. Very good. All right. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. We still got Helen, Felicia, Maria, Kenneth, and Dorothy Jones. They still haven't went yet. So Helen, Felicia, Maria, Kenneth, and Dorothy.
Call somebody, Charmaine.
Yeah, you gotta pass it. You got popcorn for me.
Let's do Felicia.
All right, Felicia. Name one death, burial, and resurrection in the chapters between Exodus 1 through 10.
Moses kills an Egyptian, resurrects into the wilderness. I'm sorry, Moses kills an Egyptian, death buries him in the sand, and resurrects out into the wilderness.
Very good. Awesome. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn.
Okay, who wasn't called yet? I heard of Kenneth.
So we still got Kenneth, Dorothy, and Maria.
So Kenneth.
All right, Kenneth. Name another death, burial, resurrection in Exodus 1 through 10.
I might have to popcorn.
That's fine.
Who would I popcorn to?
Either Maria or Dorothy.
I'll pick Maria.
All right, Maria, what's another death, burial, resurrection in Exodus 1 through 10?
It would be Moses being born under a death decree and being hid for 3 months and put into the ark and resurrected. So that would be death decree, buried for 3 months or hid for 3 months and then put in place into that ark and then resurrected out of that ark. Death, burial, resurrection.
Good. Very good. All right. Ms. Dorothy?
Yes, I'm here, Carla.
All right. Let's see. Give me a blood, water, spirit between Exodus 1 through 10.
Blood, water, spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. When Yahweh, when they did the plague, when he told the water to turn to blood, that's blood, that's water, and the spirit that was in Moses was telling him what to do.
Okay, very good. Blood, water, spirit. Good job. Very good. All right. I think that's our round of popcorn. Nope, Helen hasn't had a chance to go yet. Miss Helen, give me another blood, water, spirit in Exodus 1 through 10. You got to unmute yourself. Can't hear you. Miss Helen, can you hear me? Okay, I think you're unmuted now. Miss Helen, can you hear me? Miss Helen, are you there? All right, so another blood, water, spirit would be the death decree again. Could be, that's the blood. Then the water, of course, when Moses' mother took him to the water, and it said, by faith, Moses' mother hid him, that's your spirit, and he stayed in Pharaoh's house for 40 days. That's the blood, water, spirit, 40. Also, when Moses killed the Egyptian, that's the blood. Then after he fled to the land of Midian, he was at the water, the well of water, that's your water. And it said, by faith, Moses did that, that's your spirit, and he was out there for 40 more years, or at the age of 40 that happened to him. So you got blood, water, spirit, 40 in those different accounts. There's other things in there. So that's your popcorn round. So now what we're going to do, we're going to recap Exodus 1 through 10 and then kind of move forward. We're going to kind of dig deep into some of these things tonight, though, so we can at least get an understanding of what it is that we're reading. Kind of, it's good to retain and have fun with it, but I want you to retain it and actually be able to use it as, with different principles and things like that. So what we're going to do, volunteer only. Whoever wants to go first can go first. We're going to start in Exodus, the first chapter, and whatever you can remember, take us from the beginning of Exodus, first chapter, all the way through as far as you can get. We'll do 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to do that, and then I'll stop you. When I stop you, please go ahead and stop. And then the next person, whoever wants to volunteer, can pick up where that person left off, pick up anything that they missed or forgot to say, and then keep going for 5 minutes, just so you can kind of get. We do this in the reading. We used to do this in reading a lot. So don't be like Meridian class, please, because Meridian will go on after the bell rings. About 15 more minutes. Please don't be like Meridian. Let's just do something different this time. Thanks. All right. Who wants to go first?
I go first, Carla.
Very good, Ms. Dorothy. All right. And y'all pay attention, because just in case it's something she missed, the next speaker needs to go ahead and catch if she missed anything. So let's get started. Let's go, Ms. Dorothy. All right.
All right. Now, this Moses was born during the time of a death decree. His mother had to hid him because he was born at a time of death decree. So she built an ark of bulrush and dabbed it with slime and pitch and put him therein by the brink, and put him therein. And his sister stood afar off to see what would happen to him. And when she saw Pharaoh's daughter was swimming in the water, because they believed that the water would, the river Nile would give them fertility. So she saw the baby, she opened the ark, and the baby wept. And she said, this is one of the Hebrew babies. And Moses' sister said, do you would like for me to get a midwife to nurse the child? She said, yes. So Moses was brought back to his own mother, where he would wean for the milk and draw from the breast. And after that, he was brought back into Pharaoh's daughter's house, where he was raised up. And at the age of 40 years old, Yahweh put it on his heart to go out and look upon his Hebrew brethren. And Moses saw an Egyptian taskmaster smite one of his brothers. So what Moses did, he's intercede, and he killed that Egyptian and buried him in the sand. Now that brother that he was helping, that was Aaron. So Moses killed that he killed that Egyptian. He buried him in the sand. Now Moses went in the house, came out the second day, and he saw no quarreling. And he said, why do you wrong one another, since that you are already in bondage? And the one that he helped, which was Aaron, said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you did that Egyptian? So Moses knew this name was known. So what Moses did, he went back in the house the third day, because he going by the pattern, 1, 2, 3. So he came, when he went out and he went back and he left out on the third day, resurrected into the land of Midian, where he saw 7 girls watering their flocks. Moses, he was an intercessor, like Joshua is our intercessor. So Moses interceded and helped the girls water their flocks, and they got home early. And when they got home, their father said, Ruel said, why are you home so early? They said, an Egyptian help us to water our flock. But truly he was a Hebrew. He just had on Egyptian clothing. Go get the man that he may break bread with us. Now that was their tradition when they meet people. They sit down, they eat, and they break bread, and they hold conversation. So he told Moses, I will give you Zipporah, my oldest daughter. So Moses was content to dwell out in the land of Midian for another 40 years. Now at the age of 80 years old, Moses saw a phenomenal sight. He saw a bush burning, but the bush was not being consumed. And when Moses turned aside to see this great sight, Yahweh called out to him, saying, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I. He said, take off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Now, see, it wasn't nothing, it was holy because he was in the presence of the Almighty Father. So he told Moses, he wanted him to go back down into the land of Egypt to deliver his one son. And Moses said, who am I that Pharaoh should listen to me? And he told him, certainly I will be with thee. And he gave Moses 3 signs. And the first sign was, he threw down the rod and became a serpent. He told him to pick it up, and it ran back into the rod. And what is that showing? Ayah, Asher, Ayah. I will be what I will to be. Then he told Moses to put his hand in the bosom. He put his hand in the bosom and told him to pluck it out, and it was leprosy. He told him to put it back in, and it was his other flesh. Now, what is that showing? Death, burial, resurrection. Then he told Moses, they surely will believe the last sign. Take some water out of the river and pour it upon dry ground, and it shall turn to blood. Now, see, then he gave him the principle of what? Blood, water, spirit, 40. So he giving Moses the gospel to go back down into the land of Midian to deliver his one son. And he told him, I will be with thee.
Pause. Very good. Get it, Miss Dorothy. I'm talking about, Paul didn't take no break. I'm talking about straight through. That's what I'm talking about. Who wants to go behind Miss Dorothy? Did anybody notice, did she miss anything? I want to pick up something that she missed and pick up where she left off and keep going. Who wants to go next? Now, I can start calling on people, but I don't want to. Who wants to go next?
I'm next.
All right.
I do want to go back and pick up a couple of things. Hopefully I'll take a breath. But one of the things that I was looking at is when we go back into the first chapter, and it shows you those midwives that when Pharaoh sent out this death decree, we have to remember that those midwives, they feared Elohim. So that's why they didn't kill the male Hebrew child. And they told them, look, they are active, and when they're on their first stews, they've already given birth. So that it had to be the Egyptians themselves. They had to go in and carry out Pharaoh's word, not the Hebrew midwives. And it said this, that because they did that they feared Elohim, it said that Yahweh prospered their households. So in the process of all that, we see that's when Moses is born. And as she said, Moses was set up from the beginning as a deliverer. So when Pharaoh sent out this death decree, by Yahweh's word is a thing established. So therefore, Moses could not be touched. So when he was brought into Pharaoh's house, raised up in Pharaoh's household, and Yahweh showed us how we all came that same way, raised up under the customs and traditions of this world. So therefore, Moses was familiar with those things. And the reason she mentioned that Moses went out to be among his Hebrew brethren, how did he know? How did he know he was a Hebrew? Because of the covenant of circumcision. Yahweh had given Israel a covenant of circumcision. The male had to be circumcised 8 days after birth. So Moses knew he was a Hebrew, not just Pharaoh's daughter, but Moses knew. And when he went out among his brethren, you see how that, like she was saying, that they were quarreling, and Yahweh all along was setting up Moses. He was setting him up to be an intercessor, even though he didn't know it. And as they were quarreling and they strove, Moses asked the question, why wrong ye thy brother? Why do you quarrel or fight among yourselves? So when it was out the next day, then Moses, you see how Moses fled for his life. And Yahweh has shown us all along that if you take the F, or the flesh, off of fled, Yahweh led Moses out to Midian, where he came to the girls at the well. watered their flock, like she said, got home early, and their father asked a question. What happened that you're home so early? They said, well, an Egyptian. And it is only because of the clothing that Moses was wearing that he was claimed to be identified as an Egyptian, just as us, because we were in the same kind of coats of flesh as men, then they call you this, that, or the other. But when Moses came in and broke bread with Ruel and they talked, then Ruel knew that he's not an Egyptian as was supposed. So after this, like she said, he gave Moses his eldest daughter, and they had sons. And it was Yahweh that appeared to Moses on the backside of the mount and told him that I am the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But before that, he said that Moses turned aside to see. And and that is the same thing that we all have to do, is turn aside from our own ideas, concepts, and opinions of how we think a thing is, that it is not that way. So when Moses turned aside to see, Yahweh saw that he turned aside, and that's what it is now. Yahweh have to see that you turned aside, and when he did, Yahweh spoke to him, and he gave him a name and signs and wonders. And as was talked about, we talked about today, you know, if the name was not important, then Yahweh would not have given him a name. And people say, well, you can call him anything you want to, and you can, but he's not going to answer. And you see that when Moses took this name down in Egypt, that it was Yahweh's mighty hand that came down and devastated Egypt and set up a time for his people to come out. But there were some things that Israel and the Egyptians had to go through, that they had to see as pertaining to what Yahweh was doing. So when they got down there, and like I said, Moses said, well, who am I that I should go? And Yahweh told him this: certainly I will be with you. And know this, that when Yahweh say that he is with you and you follow his instruction as Moses did, then you will see how Yahweh is with you. And when he went down, and
that's good. That's very good, very good, very good, very good. Awesome. Y'all got y'all preaching voices on, I see tonight. All right, who wants to go next? Oh, she's gonna get the preach. I'm glad it went on charting site. It was a big hit. All right, who wants to go next? Oh, we ain't even at the third chapter yet. All was good. Night. 10 minutes. We ain't at third. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead. I'll give you Jim.
Okay, now when the children of Israel came down into Egypt, it was 11 souls that came down at the time of the sojourn when the plague was in Egypt. And the name of them was Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And the reason why it was 11, because Joseph was already down into Egypt, for he had been sold down into Egypt. And Joseph died off. And then because the first Pharaoh with Joseph had favor in his sight. But that Pharaoh that came up after that, he didn't know Joseph. So the children of Israel, as Yahweh had told them how he would multiply their seed as the sands of the sea and as the stars of heaven, they was multiplying and increasing abundantly. And they grew exceeding mightily. See, and Pharaoh feared. And Yahweh had to put this thought into Pharaoh. Can't no man come up with no thought on his own. He feared that if another nation would go to war or come up to war against the Egyptians, that the children of Israel would join forces and overthrow his kingdom, even though he had already said that they was more and mightier. And he said, let us deal wisely with them. So he sent out that death decree to slay all the male Hebrew children from 2 years down to birth. And he put that task up on the Hebrew midwives. But they feared Elohim, so they would not do it. And as it had already been explained, what they told him, and to say that because of what they did and would not, that Yahweh, he multiplied their household exceedingly. So they could not slay that male Hebrew child. And that's pointing up to a principle on down. But so Moses' mother hid him for a period of 3 months. And as it already been stated, how she could know when she saw she could no longer hide him. Why is that? Because when a woman become pregnant, they can hide it for 3 months. That's about it. See? And after that, they can no longer hide that pregnancy. See? So she pitched an ark of bulrushes, put the child in it, put him in the flags of the river Nile. And Moses' sister, Miriam, she went out to see. She was out to see what would become of the child. So Pharaoh's daughter came out to bathe at the river brink. She heard the child cry. The midwife fetched the child, and she said, I will name him Moses because Moses means drawn out. Now, Moses, that's a Hebrew name. So she knew that he was a Hebrew. Why? Because of the covenant of circumcision. See, all the male Hebrew children had to be circumcised on the 8th day. So he had been circumcised since he was with his mother for 3 months. So she drew the child out, and Moses grew up in the household of Pharaoh's daughter, which was in Pharaoh's household, the one that had sent out the death decree. See, so he grew up in Pharaoh's household. Moses became 40 years old, and Yahweh put the desire in his heart to go out among his Hebrew brothers. And Moses went out strolling one day. He saw an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew. Moses interceded, and it say in the defense of his life, he slew that Egyptian. So the next day he was out. 2 Israelites was quarreling. Moses interceded again. And the one that was in the wrong asked Moses, who made you a ruler and a judge over us? Are you going to slay me as you did that Egyptian yesterday? So Moses knew that the word was out, that he had killed this Egyptian. So Moses fled out into the land of Midian, where he came unto a well, and it was 7 girls trying to water their flock, and they was being hindered by some shepherds. So Moses interceded again, showing forth that Yahweh is making Moses an intercessor. So he watered the flock, ran the Egyptians, the shepherds away, watered the flock for the ladies, and they went back to their father, Ruel. And he asked them, why did you get home early? Because he knew that they was being bothered when they go out there. So they told him that an Egyptian had helped him. Okay, so he asked his daughters to go get this man that he might break bread with it. So when Moses came back and broke bread with Ruel, and by breaking bread with him, or they having a conversation, he understood that Moses was not an Egyptian. So Moses was content to dwell in the house of Ruel. And Ruel gave him to wife his oldest daughter, Zipporah. And Moses was out in the wilderness for 40 years, okay, making him 80 years old. He was in Egypt for 40, came out into the wilderness of Midian. He was out there for 40 years. So he became a sheep herder for his father-in-law. And one day while he was in...
That's fine. Very good, very good, very good. You went back and called everything, didn't you? All right.
Go next, Carla.
No.
Okay.
Can I go?
I'm going next.
Wow, what's happening with me? Hello? What's happening with me? I done tried 3 times.
I didn't hear you. I think maybe your phone was muted out the first time. So let me, so for the people that joined a little late, what we're doing, we were we've gone through Exodus, the first chapter through the 10th chapter, what has been our assignment the last 2 weeks, and we're doing a lightning round of Pass the Baton. And so we're going from Exodus, the first chapter, in order and trying to explain everything that happened between Exodus first chapter through the 10th chapter. And you're picking up where the last person left off. And if they forgot anything, you're picking up what they forgot and you're keeping it going. And so that's what we're doing for anybody that joined a little later. All right. All right. So Shirley, after you, then Paula, you can go. And then whoever else that said something after Paula can go.
Me, I said Cheryl after Cheryl go.
Paula's been trying this like 3 times. But all right, so Shirley, Paula, and then Vanessa, and then after that, whoever's after Vanessa. Go ahead, Shirley.
Okay. As already been mentioned, is that Yahweh appeared unto Yahweh appeared unto Moses and gave him his name, made himself known unto him, and told him that he had come down to deliver his people up out of the land of Egypt, and to bring them into a good land flowing with milk and honey. And he told Moses that certainly I will be with thee. And he wanted Moses to go down and deliver his people up out of the land of Egypt, because Yahweh was going to be with him. And Moses answered Yahweh and said that the people would not hearken unto him. And Yahweh said, well, what's that in your hand? And Moses said, a rod. Now this is going to be a major thing throughout the rest of his journey, is Yahweh dealing with him to deliver his people up out of the land of Egypt, because the rod was, we know, represents the truth. And Yahweh told Moses in the 17th chapter of 4:17, thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. So the rod is going to be an important factor throughout this journey here to deliver his people up out of Egypt. And that he told him to take the rod and to do these signs so that the people may believe that I have appeared unto thee. And that's what Moses did. He told Moses to go back down into Egypt and to take that rod of Elohim with him in his hand. And Moses did that. And Moses went, and he instructed Moses to go, to go into Pharaoh and tell him to let his people go. And that he got rid of all of Moses' excuses that he couldn't speak plain because he stuttered when he talked, and told him that Aaron, his brother, would be his mouthpiece. And that to go and teach what he shall say unto him. That he said, I will be your mouthpiece. I will speak unto you what you shall do, and you shall tell Aaron, and Aaron shall speak unto Pharaoh. So Moses and Aaron did go before Pharaoh to tell him what thus said Yahweh, to let his people go, so that they may serve him. And Pharaoh, of course, said, who is this Yahweh? I don't know him. Well, needless to say, he was not aware of the fact that he was going to know who Yahweh was before it was over. Because Yahweh had already told Moses that, so that he, and throughout all these chapters, he told him over and over again, so that they may know that I am Yahweh. So Pharaoh was going to know who Yahweh was before it was over, but he was going to not deliver the children of Israel, let the children of Israel go, because Yahweh's word has gone out and told Moses that he will not let you go, but by a mighty hand. So it was going to be clear that it was Yahweh was going to be in control of the matter throughout all of these chapters here. And Yahweh continued to further introduce himself to Moses by, he had already given him his name. And then in the 6th chapter, he further introduced himself to Moses by giving him more information about himself. One example is said that basically he was telling Moses, you haven't heard of me by my name, because I was known to your father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, the Almighty Provider. But by my name Yahweh was I not known to them. And that shows us that Moses was the first man that Yahweh gave his name to. And then he was making known to Moses that he was fulfilling the covenant that he had given unto his fathers. So he went on further, just told Moses more about himself and told Moses that he had remembered the covenant that he had gave to his fathers. That's why he was there at that point, revealing himself unto Moses. And the children of Israel did not hearken unto Moses. At first, they said that they believed him over in the 4th chapter. But over in the 6th chapter, the children of Israel hearkened not unto Moses because of the burdens had been doubled by Pharaoh. So they were just, wore out and weary because of anguish of spirit and cruel bondage. They didn't believe him. They didn't hearken unto him when Moses was telling him the plan that Yahweh had given them to deliver the children of Israel out. And Moses still was offering up excuses about being of uncircumcised lips, or still saying that he couldn't speak plain. But however, Yahweh continued his instructions to Moses for the children of Israel to deliver the children of Israel out of bondage and for him to go unto Pharaoh, even though Moses was still having excuses. But Yahweh told him over and over again that don't worry about you not being able to speak. Aaron will be your mouthpiece. You just speak what I will tell thee, and Aaron will speak unto Pharaoh. And that don't worry about Pharaoh not hearkening unto you, because I have hardened his heart. Well, he will not hearken unto you. So that takes away any excuses that we may have, because Yahweh's already taken care of the matter. And so Moses was made.
Okay, pause. Sorry.
Okay.
Very good. At least you got us up out of that chapter. All right, Miss Paula. Miss Paula, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just gonna go back and clarify and clean up some scripts here, pieces, pick up some pieces. Okay, first of all, the first chapter I think is very beautiful in that it identifies the 12 tribes of Israel. Each tribe, Reuben through all the souls that came down into Egypt. And I think it's good. What's beautiful to me is how it says in 1 and 10, come on, let us deal wisely because the children was multiplying. And we always say, go back to Moses. Always start in Moses. Well, Moses wrote Genesis and he wrote of Abraham. And Yahweh had told Abraham, that's in the 17th chapter, well, first it started in the 15th chapter. He told him to fear not, he would be with him. But he tells him in the 17th chapter, that he will multiply his seed, and I will make thee exceedingly fruitful. So when the Pharaoh that didn't know Yahweh came along, that's what was happening at that point. When you come to Exodus 1 and 10, when it says, come, let us deal wisely, because Yahweh was working the purpose that he had told Abraham, how greatly they were multiplying and how he felt that they would fight against them. And this is all, the beauty I'm seeing is this, is Pharaoh is the adversary. Satan don't know Yahweh's purpose, so Pharaoh thinks that he can get one step ahead, but he never gets ahead. So that's beautiful to me. And so he told him that, before they multiply. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied. And that grieved, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. Of course, because Yahweh had given the promise to Abraham that was what he would do. Hello? Oh, yes, okay, then if you go over to 2 and 22, someone brought this up already, but just the beauty of Moses with Gershom. And, him saying that he was a stranger in a strange land. And I thought that was beautiful. And also, when you go over into the 3rd chapter, when he tells Moses to take your shoes off, that correlates on the migratory track with being the holy place, holy ground. And then he said in the 6th chapter, moreover, I am the Elohim. He gives him his name. And Moses is afraid to look upon him, but not because anything had been written, but it had been passed down, and they were waiting for their Savior. And he lets him know, he says, I am come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians and to bring them up. So in first person, that's beautiful to me. And then he tells Moses, after Moses, I think, gives a complaint in 2 and 12, he said, Exodus 3 and 12, and he says, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent you. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve Elohim upon this mount. Okay, what was that mount? That was the same place that Oshia, son of Nun's tent was pitched, on the back of that mount. And when Moses went into the meeting tent to speak with Elohim, to speak to Yahshua, his servant, that's where he went. And that was beautiful to me. And then 3, 8 through 9 is what I got written down. That I really, okay, that was beautiful to me. And then when you get over to going to the 4th chapter, with, he gave the first sign was with the snake. When they tried to duplicate it, Aaron's rod ate their rod up. I think I'm in the right book. Pass it on the ground. No, that's when he told him to do it. Okay. And Moses took the rod of Elohim. And that was beautiful how it was brought out last class for me, because I didn't know that I knew it was Aaron's rod, but I didn't know the beauty of it being, the beauty of it because of what he had done when he brought the rod back down, and it was explained it was the rod of Elohim. So, in fact, to me that was just really beautiful because I hadn't heard it specifically put that way before. And moving on into chapter 5, Pharaoh, the 2nd, 5 and 2, he goes, and Pharaoh said, who is Yahweh that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? And he didn't know Yahweh, so he wouldn't let him go. The beauty of the story is Yahweh is illustrating the whole thing, and Pharaoh can only do the things that he's doing, even though he thinks he has power. And for me coming into this gospel, I had a zeal, and I believe that I knew Father Yahweh as he really is and actually exists, and I didn't. And so it was easy for me, unfortunately, I'm giving testimony here, to think I was doing something, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, when it was still always Yahweh working in my life to bring me to the place where I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. So, and he even tells Moses, he said, I will harden his heart. And the beauty of, because I know I'm going through a lot. This is just the way Yahweh got me going.
It's okay. The 5 minutes is up in next time. All right.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. Vanessa?
Okay.
5 minutes don't seem like no time, does it? Seem like you just started talking.
No, it don't.
I know. And it's the reason why I'm doing it this way. Go ahead.
5 minutes.
Okay. You know I ain't started yet. I ain't going to start your 5 minutes till you start. Push.
Okay. All right. When Yahweh spoke to Moses and told him that he would send him back down into the land of Egypt, Moses made up excuses. Now, Yahweh had already told Moses, Ayah, Asher, Ayah, I will be what I will to be. So when Moses started making up excuses, Yahweh being Ayah, Asher, Ayah, moved all of Moses's excuses from him. Moses said, I killed a man. Yahweh told him, all that's out your life, they are dead, Moses, so you don't have to worry about that. Got rid of that excuse. Moses said, well, I can't speak plain. Yahweh said, well, who made man's mouth? Who made the deaf? Who made the blind? Did not our Yahweh do all of these things? So Yahweh is going to demonstrate to Moses that he is exactly what he said he is. I will be what I will to be. So to prove to Moses and to give him confidence, he gave him those signs to show him, I will be what I will to be. You know, I'm the rod, now you cast it on the ground. Okay, I will to be the serpent. Now you pick it up by the tail and I will to be the rod again. You cast your hand in your bosom, it turns to leprosy. I'm your whole flesh and I am that leprosy. Put it back in your bosom, it's back into his whole flesh. If they don't believe the voice, let Moses know that those signs were really going to be talking to Pharaoh, that if they don't believe the voice of these two signs, then certainly they'll believe the voice of the third. Take a basin, dip it in the water, and pour it up on the ground. It's going to turn to blood. So Yahweh told Moses beforehand, just as he tells us all the time, I declare the end right from the beginning. So now, Moses, when you go back down there and you go unto Pharaoh and you tell him what thus saith Yahweh, I am going to harden his heart so that he will not let Israel go. Israel is coming out by a mighty hand. That's what he told Abraham when he made the promise to him. So now Moses, and he tells this, that your brother Aaron, he speaks eloquently. He is on his way out to meet you. Well, Yahweh, how can you tell me that? If you're out here at this burning bush talking to me, how do you know what Aaron is going to do? I declare at the end from the beginning, I will be what I will to be. And he told Moses, he said, Aaron shall be unto you as he gonna be your mouthpiece. And then he said, Aaron will be to you a El. So you had the law and the prophets going back down there to Pharaoh to tell him what thus says Yahweh. So when they get down there, tell Pharaoh what thus says Yahweh. Pharaoh said, I don't know this Yahweh, neither will I let Israel go. So Yahweh told Moses, said, when he say that unto you and ask you for a sign, this is what you do so that he will know that you have met with me. That's what Yahweh is doing for us right now. When we talk to so-called people of the world, we don't have to just come off the top of our head with our imagination. We can give them facts and the signs will definitely follow to show that Yahweh is real, just as he has made us know that he is real. So when he told Moses, and he said, when you speak unto Pharaoh, and then he asks you to show us a miracle, then you cast your rod on the ground. Pharaoh called out magicians, he called out his sorcerers, and they did the same thing. But the one thing that they missed, when they cast their rods down and they became serpent, Aaron's rod swallowed up their serpents. So Yahweh is still demonstrating, I will be what I will to be. And Yahweh told Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened, and he will refuse to let my people go. But then Moses had to be obedient to what thus saith Yahweh. And see, and that's where we oftentimes find ourselves having problems. And it's because of our own disobedience. You know, so when Pharaoh's magicians is trying to match what Moses and Aaron are doing, that Yahweh blinded their eyes so that they could not see. They didn't see that they didn't have a rod in the end of this. So they go on through this and they still trying to match what they're doing. And finally they tell Pharaoh, look, in a word, we can't do nothing with what they're doing. This truly is of Yahweh. Now, and I say the word Yahweh, and I use the true name Yahweh because we understand that Moses is having a vision, and this is what Moses is writing. After that, Yahweh called him up into the mount and revealed himself unto them. Now, when Yahweh told Moses, or told Aaron to hold his rod up over the waters, and all the water changed to blood, the Egyptians was out digging holes trying to get water when there was no water because Yahweh had changed it all to blood. The fish in the water stank, everything. They had no water to bathe in. They had no water to drink. Now, if they were so smart, or if they had wisdom, then what they would have done is change the blood back into water so that they could bathe or they could drink. But see, they couldn't do that. Again, Yahweh had blinded their eyes because he said, I will be what I will to be. So then the next thing he did, he caused the frogs upon the land. They was in their houses, everything was covered with frogs. Did you say frogs?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you told me to pause. Okay, so the next plague was that they caused the frogs, and the rivers was filled with frogs, the houses was filled with frogs, everything was filled with frogs. And you see that after a point, Yahweh told them that, where he even said when the magicians couldn't do nothing, Yahweh told Moses and them, you rise up early in the morning, and when Pharaoh comes out to the water, and then you see that he caused the insects to be upon Yahweh.
Okay, I'm sorry. Pause. I'm sorry. I didn't say pause, but I should have. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. So yes, pause. Sorry. I didn't mean to give you that much time. You had an extra minute. I'm sorry about that.
Well, let me just say he separated Israel from the Egyptians.
Okay, got it. Cool. All right, who's next? And what we're doing for whoever joined a little later than and don't know what's going on. The assignment we had was to read chapters 1 through 10 of Exodus for the last 2 weeks, and we're doing a lightning pass the baton round where we're actually got 5 minutes to go from Exodus 1st chapter to the 10th chapter and pick up where the last figure left off, pick up anything that was missed previously, and kind of catch everybody back up. So who wants to go next? Anybody? You got to unmute yourself because I can't hear anybody.
Nobody else want to go. I guess I can go. I just have to talk quietly.
Okay, we can hardly hear you though, but go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll pick it up where she left off with Moses. Went before
Hold on,
Pharaoh.
Doctor. Wait just a second because we can hardly hear you. Or is it just me? Are y'all having a hard time hearing him, or is it just me?
Yeah. No, it's not just you. Yeah.
We're having
Okay,
a hard
hard hearing.
time
Someone
hearing.
here.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just go just another time then. But I'm holding the phone up.
Bring the baby to me.
Okay.
It's okay if you wake up. If you wake up, you just be struggling the rest of the night till I get through. It's all right. You struggled before. I'll mute myself out so I know you're gonna probably be crazy. Anybody want to go while he's bringing the baby to me? Well, he can. Well, he's right here. He can go ahead and go. He can go ahead and go. Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm gonna mute myself out.
All right. Can y'all hear me? Is it better now?
No, it's not.
No, we can't hear you.
Just your headphones, push them in all the way or something.
That better?
No, you still sound really far away and muffled.
That better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, my headphones kept getting disconnected because I kept getting calls and they kept disconnecting. So, all right. So I'll pick up, I guess, where she left off with Moses going before Pharaoh, let's say the first time. So Moses and Aaron, as they were charged by Yahweh to go before Pharaoh, Moses asked Pharaoh to let my people go. And Pharaoh is saying, I don't know Yahweh. I don't know you or Yahweh. You know, neither will I let your people go. So Moses, he had they cast a rod down, and it became a serpent. And Jannes and Jambres said, well, we can do that too. Cast their rods down, and they became serpents as well. But Moses' rod, the rod of Elohim, had ate their serpents up. And let me see. My brain ain't working right. So afterwards, the people are Pharaoh. He's telling them, look, y'all want to go ahead and try to worship Yahweh? These people is too idle. Let's give them. Don't give them no more straw. They got to do, and they got to still produce the amount of bricks to build my treasure cities, right? The same amount of bricks. So now the labor was magnified on the people, and they pretty upset with Moses and Aaron. You know, and Yahweh, and Pharaoh was like, you know, I ain't gonna let your people go, and this, that, and the other. So Moses turned the water. He held the rod over the water, over the rivers, and all the rivers turned to blood. Every pot, every vessel, everything turned from water to blood, and so much that the land began to stink. And that plague had lasted for, I believe, 7 days. And then Moses went again under Pharaoh, saying, you know, let my people go. Pharaoh, of course, refused. And then the second plague was frogs, I believe. And frogs went everywhere and all over the land of Egypt. And these, by the way, these first 3 plagues was affected both Israel and the Egyptians. So Pharaoh refused to let the people go. The frogs, he asked, Moses went before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, okay, I'll let your people go. He's basically lying, but he isn't going to let them go. He says, well, okay, tell Yahweh to take the plagues off, take the frogs away. Well, Moses asked him, when do you want me to take the plague off? Asked Yahweh. He said, take it off, tell him tomorrow. So frogs went away. He said he let the people go. He didn't. So Yahweh caused lice with the third plague. Lice upon all the land, I believe that's the third plague. And in the fourth plague, Yahweh separated between the land of Goshen and the Israelites between the Egyptians. So every plague after that hit the Egyptians only. And the fourth plague was, I think it was boils, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was boils. No, flies. It was flies.
Yes.
It was flies. Yeah. So flies all over the land of Egypt, and Israelites were safe in Goshen. Moses went back under Pharaoh. Yahweh stopped the plague of the flies. Pharaoh kept, giving him this, telling him that he was going to let the people go. When he didn't, he cast out the next plague, which I believe was on the cattle and livestock and whatnot. And it plagued all the Egyptians' cattle, pestilence on them. Then, back and forth with Moses and Pharaoh again, and that plague had passed. And another one Yahweh poured on them was boils, right? I think it was boils. And then Pharaoh, that was pretty hard on the Egyptians. And boils that got to him pretty hard. And then Yahweh, Pharaoh, he just kept going. He just kept going back on his word. He's gonna let the people go, but don't go too far. You know what I mean? Yahweh's telling him, well, then they're negotiating terms. Pharaoh, Yahweh is telling him we need to take sacrifices because we got to sacrifice unto Yahweh our Elohim. So we ain't gonna be leaving nothing behind. Pharaoh was saying, nah. You can't have our livestock. No, I'm not gonna let the people go, so on and so forth. So then he brought hail mingled with fire. But Yahweh had told the Israelites to get your cattle and stuff out of the field, bring it in your house, because if it's man or beast, if it's left outside, it's gonna be dead with the hailstorm that he's bringing down. So Pharaoh was okay.
That's your 5 minutes. Very good. Very, very good. All right. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
'cause, he left off on the 6th plague, rained down hail and fire. And like he said, it'd bring everything in. And then Pharaoh still wouldn't let him go. And so he says, all right, Pharaoh's like, okay, if you stop, then if you let us go, you know, just stop it. Just, you know, whatever, I'll let you go. And then Pharaoh's heart was hardened again. And Yahweh kept repeating himself that they might know my signs and know that I am Yahweh. And at this point, he's saying, how long are you going to refuse to humble yourself and let my people go? And then the next one was, I think, the locust. And so the locust went and ate all their crops. Before that, Moses said, let us go so we can hold that feast. You know, he talked about, Pharaoh asked him, like, who do you want us to let go? You know what I'm saying? And so he was trying to negotiate. And he's like, look, like he said, we need the cattle because we have to hold a feast unto Yahweh. And so the locust went over, but his heart was still darkened. And then there was a plague that went over the land for 3 days. But the children of Israel, like you said, after the third plague, after from 7 on down to 10, none of that, the children of Israel had light in their dwelling, showing forth how Yahweh made favor on them, on the children of Israel. And they wanted to make, and Pharaoh still wouldn't let them go. And so Yahweh said, I'm giving one more plague. And if you don't let him go this time, he will let you go this time. And that's when they started gathering jewels of silver and gold and the wonders of. So then we come up to where it gets down to the establishment of the Passover, where he establishes Abib, the first month, that they're to take out a lamb, male of the first year, killed by the whole assembly in the evening. Put the blood on the door, has to be roasted with fire, and they have to eat unleavened bread for 7 days. And if there's any of the sacrifice left, they have to burn it and eat it in haste. And the death angel, those who had the blood of the lamb on their door, the death angel would not, would spare their household. And every man, it'd be man and beast that would die or not die, depending on, if they had the lamb on the door on the 10th. And it was held over until the 14th day. And the blood had to be inside. And this was the establishment of the first Passover. And at midnight, Yahweh went out and killed the firstborn of every man and beast. And then Pharaoh said, look, you can go with the flocks and the herds, and we're going to get on out of here. So he sent them on out of the land. Or they held over to the 14th. Let me see. And he killed him in the night. So that death angel, like I said, it was darkness, but unto the Egyptians, but light until the children of Israel. And Yahweh, then they went out of that land, because I think we're in the 6th? Now we're in the 6th chapter.
You're over in 12.
Are we in 12?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't jump. Okay, so I'm sorry. I thought the assignment was 6 through 12, so that's what I read, and so okay. Let me go back. Let's see. You said, I'm sorry, y'all. When you said 10, I was like, uh-oh. Let me go back. See what happened. Yeah, I mean, but that he was talking about that same thing, firstborn in the land. And he kept hardening his heart, and Yahweh just kept saying, I am Yahweh. They're going to know that I am Yahweh. I am Yahweh. I am Yahweh. That his name is going to be declared. Before that time, he was known as the Almighty Provider, but now they're going to know him as Yahweh. And I just, to me, that's very important, because we tell people about this name, right? All right, we have to, that's the thing, that's salvation, you know, it is in the name. So he's declaring his name throughout all of Egypt and showing favor until the children of Israel. And so they had to eat it, okay, after they did all that. So the main thing was to also, they were going to make that feast unto Yahweh. And so you see those principles of the feasts being established, and that they had to eat that bread that was unleavened.
Okay,
And,
pause. I'm sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
good.
We had an extra minute to start. She said, okay, good. So good.
Yeah, okay, good. Because I was like, go ahead.
You're funny. Okay, so
I know.
very good, everybody. That took us a whole hour to go from the first chapter to the 10th chapter. How amazing is that? So, my whole point in doing it that way, and so for anybody that's joined a little bit after we got started or whatever, what we're doing, the assignment for the last 2 weeks was Exodus, the first chapter through the 10th chapter. And so we did teams for the last couple of weeks, and we answered questions. This time, we're doing lightning round, where we're passing the baton. So the first speaker had to start in the first chapter of Exodus as far as they can go for 5 minutes, and then the next speaker picks up where they left off, pick up anything that they missed, and so that's what we've been doing. It took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 speakers in an hour, 50 minutes to an hour or so to even go from 1 to 10. So that shows how much detail is in these scriptures that you cannot exhaust it. We didn't even go through all of them, but y'all missed so much stuff out of an hour. Y'all missed a lot of stuff. In
Yeah, it is
10
a lot.
chapters.
Yes.
And so the whole point is, there's no reason for anybody to say that they're tired of going back to the law and the prophets, or I've heard all that before. Oh, you cannot exhaust it. It's inexhaustible. You can't even get out of your 10 chapters in an hour, let alone back to Abraham in 2 hours, even though you had different speakers. And you saw how each speaker, was able to bring out different principles, and some of you talked about the same thing but had different principles in them, and it's inexhaustible. And so with that being said, the reason why I wanted to do it that way is to kind of get you guys used to telling the story in order. It's one thing to know what happened with this, know who this person's name was, how old this person was, but when you can actually go through it like that nonstop, Yahweh reveals to you so many different principles. How Paula kept saying how beautiful this was, how beautiful she got all the scriptures written down, how this was beautiful, that was beautiful, and all y'all had different principles, and y'all start preaching. In 5 minutes, y'all start getting y'all preaching voice on. So I know Miranda would have hit a chart in 5 minutes. But that's what this gospel does. That's why he said go back to Moses, because there's so much in Moses. It was beautiful. But one thing that a couple things I want to point out, didn't nobody go to 3:13 through 15 and actually just expound on Yahweh saying this is my name forever and my memorial unto all generations. Out of all 7 of y'all, nobody said that part at all. I was like, what? Y'all go skip over that part? But it's a lot. It was a lot.
You didn't let me get there. You cut me off right before I got there.
Well, you should have got there in 5 minutes. Not just saying. Okay, so, but yeah, so it was a lot, y'all. So y'all did really, really good. Y'all brought up some really good points, really good principles, and even correlating some of it was really good. So let's go back and recap and talk about a couple of these and make a couple of points, and then we'll conclude. We'll finish with the rest of our discussion for the night, then we'd be done. All right, so I'm guilty of saying it. I know that I used to say and I used to think that the death decree that Pharaoh sent out on the children of Israel, that it was in response to them multiplying so much and them being more and mightier. But that's not what the book says. What the book says is that Pharaoh feared, because he feared they were more and mighty, that would join nations. They would join nations with the other. Join the other. Huh? What was that?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna put myself on mute.
Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say is, I used to think that it was because of the death decree came after that. But what happened first was when he feared that they would join forces with another nation, he caused them to do more tasks. That's when he gave them more things to do. But when he afflicted them, because the book says in Exodus, where is it? 1 and 10. Nope, 9. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore, that's the reason why they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burden. And so that was the taskmasters was a result of him fearing that they would join forces with another nation, right? He didn't do the death decree because of that. The death decree came a little bit after that. So so it said the more he afflicted them, the more they multiplied, right? And then in the 15th verse, it said, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of midwife to the Hebrew women, and feed them upon their birth stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But they feared, If you look at that a little closer, because it wasn't, and they were like, well, they're active. So when we get there, they've already born the children. So what Pharaoh was trying to get them to do was to secretly kill these children when they delivered them. Because they could have easily still, even after the kid was delivered, when they got there, they still could have easily just took the child and killed it if that was the case. And so he was trying to get them to secretly do it up on the birth stool to make it look like they had died. But then he went to his people after the Hebrew midwives didn't do it. Then he charged all of his people, saying, every son that's born, cast it in the river, every daughter she shall be saved alive. So that's when they start going house to house, taking those babies out and killing them. Then another point that I wanted to make, and I think somebody mentioned it, and Vanessa did get the excuses. Let me ask y'all this. Can somebody answer this question for me? How do we know that Zipporah was the oldest daughter of Ruel? Because we always say he married his eldest daughter Zipporah, which was Ruel's eldest daughter Zipporah. How do we know that?
Can anyone answer?
It says it's in the
Yeah,
scripture.
anybody can answer. Anybody can answer.
Okay, because under the law, the oldest child of the firstborn should marry first. You can pick that up with Jacob too, because he was in love, but he had to work 7 years for his wife and then work another 7 because he wanted to marry. He had to marry the firstborn first.
Mm-hmm.
And I could.
That was before the law was given, but that's right. That's right. That was before the law was given. Right. Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
But that's the reason why.
Right, exactly. No, you're right. You're right. Because, and I honestly never thought about that. The kids actually brought this question to me, and I was like, the book don't say it's the oldest daughter. Wait a minute. I thought the book said that. Wait, what? And then that's when y'all brought it to me. It's because the same thing with Jacob, how he had to marry Leah first. The tradition was that the oldest daughter had to be married off first. And so out of those 7 women that were at the well, Moses was given the daughter of Ruel, which was the oldest daughter, Zipporah. Let me ask y'all another question. Nobody pointed this part out. I thought this was kind of crazy. Besides them being husband and wife, what was the other relationship between Moses' mom and dad?
It was his sister.
They were half sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
No, they were not. No, they were not sister and brother. No,
Married his
no, they weren't.
They wasn't. Oh, they were both Levi's.
That was his aunt.
They were both Levi's.
Can you
was his
repeat
aunt.
that? Can you
It
repeat
was
the
his
question?
aunt.
That was his.
Okay,
That
wait,
was his aunt.
That was his
Right,
aunt.
right. Okay,
His
that was his
father's
aunt.
sister.
Right.
That was
Right.
his aunt.
Okay,
Right.
so the question was, what was the relationship between Moses' parents besides being husband and wife? And Abraham married his aunt Jochebed. Right.
Mhm.
Oh,
Right.
that's right.
Jochebed,
Sure did.
right. Jochebed was Abraham's aunt. Right. Very good.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Carla, can
That's
I say
right.
something?
Where can
Yes,
you find
yes,
that?
ma'am.
Carla,
It is in. Yes, ma'am.
when you get through, I want to bring out something.
It sure is in 6.
Okay, give me just a second. It's
6 and 20.
and 23. 6 and 23.
Mm-hmm.
You said
623.
Exodus 6 and 23?
Exodus 6
Yeah.
and 23.
It's
Yeah.
Exodus 6 and 20.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Ooh, y'all. Let's,
I couldn't
okay,
remember.
let's not talk over each other. Let's not talk over each other. Let's try not to anyway.
20.
What was you wanting to say, Ms. Dorothy? Go ahead.
I wanted to say, because when Michael was bringing that out about the thing, about the plagues, I had really, got into that and I was reading it. And what I saw, Yahweh is really awesome. What I'm saying is, now after that, after he poured out the hail and fire, right, which was the 7th plague, he told Moses, he said, what the hail and fire did not destroy, them locusts was going to come and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. It was,
Mhm.
I'm telling you something, I didn't know this. And they cover the whole land of
Sure did.
Egypt.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
whole land.
Mhm.
Could you imagine that?
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
know. I
crazy.
said, Father, you is awesome.
Yeah.
The
I
whole
would
land.
have.
I
Yeah.
mean, could you imagine that, Carla?
Yeah, that's a lot. I can't even
That's
do.
a
I
lot.
can't
They
do regular
said the
bugs.
whole
Yeah.
land was covered with them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I don't like them either.
Mm-mm. See, that's what I can't do bugs. I would have had to be in Goshen, like in the middle of Goshen, because I can't do
Yeah.
bugs. Mm-mm. I wouldn't have made it.
Me
So,
too, Carla, 'cause I don't like bugs either.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Hello. I also was researching about the lights, and the one thing about the lights was they had the Egyptians really revered being clean. They had to clean themselves, and once the lights came, that plague really devastated them because they couldn't do any of their rituals. They couldn't wash. They couldn't do nothing, and the lights really was destroying, in a sense, all their gods because they couldn't worship any of them. And I researched, Yahweh led me to research that. I thought, now, isn't that beautiful? Like Dorothy just brought out, those lights did it.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't worship. They couldn't do nothing. And I went on the internet and found that, and it said specifically that none of their rituals that they could do, no one could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And cleanliness and the dust of the lights was one of their biggest things. They didn't like to be dirty. So I just thought that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Very good. It's a lot. It's so much in it. My goodness.
You could never, that's why he said what? Begin where? At Moses. Because you can never exalt all that. Never.
Right. That's
right.
true.
That's right.
Another thing too. So when Pharaoh said, I don't know Yahweh, and neither will I let them go, what scripture comes to mind when he says that? Anything come up like on the other side?
Nebuchadnezzar comes to my mind about Nebuchadnezzar. Maybe I'm wrong. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh,
I
yeah.
look at them all as having, showing forth their satanic spirit. How, when he had the vision, he thought it was about him, and the vision had nothing to do with him. So that's what comes to mind for me. How he thought he was the king or he was the god, and the pharaohs were worshipped by Egyptians as being.
That's true. Anybody else? Any other scripture come to mind?
Well, what comes to mind to me is in the prophets that he would be like the Most High. And that was demonstrated. Yahweh allowed him to even think that he had power. He allowed him to turn the rod into a serpent. He allowed him to do several of those plagues, which made Pharaoh think that, okay, you think you got power, I have power too. I'm just like that. But then you'll find also when you go over to the 8:18, when it came to the lice, they was not able to do that. Yahweh stopped it. Let it go right there, and you're doing it because I let you do it. But that would come to mind. That he's trying to be like the Most High, and Yahweh allowed him to even think that for a half a second. He sent him a strong conclusion.
And just to piggyback on what she said, the Egyptians, they turned to Pharaoh and said, "This is the finger of Elohim."
That's
They themselves at that time.
Yeah.
They realized that in 8 and 19, they turned to Pharaoh and said, and he hearkened not unto. So then the magician said unto Pharaoh, "This is the finger of Elohim." And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Let's look at this scripture real quick. Second Thessalonians. Go ahead. Look what now? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was supposed to say 2 Thessalonians 1:8.
I got it pulled up right here. It should be right up in my head. You see my screen?
That's right. It sure is.
That's it. What were you going to say, Tina? Luke, what now? Tina, what were you saying? I can't hear Tina no more. Tina, were you saying something? I'm going to need y'all to mute yourselves out if you're not talking. I hear somebody's background noise. It's getting kind of loud. Like somebody driving or something. I don't know what that is. Okay, thanks. All right, so what I was thinking about was 2 Thessalonians 1:7 through on down where it says 1:7 says, "And to you who are troubled, rest with us. When Yahweh shall be revealed, when Yahshua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh and that obey not the gospel of our Savior Yahshua Messiah." And so Yahweh took vengeance on Pharaoh down there in Egypt, because he told Moses if he's not going to let him go but by mighty hand. But before he even told Moses that, he told Abraham that the nation that shall keep him in bondage, Yahweh, I'm going to judge that nation. Pharaoh didn't have any choice about it. Yahweh had to judge him. And so then he had to say, I don't know Yahweh, and neither will I let them go. So he said he didn't know him, and he didn't obey what Yahweh said that he had to do. Because the gospel is the death, burial, and the resurrection. And so the death and the burial had already happened. Yahweh was coming in to deliver them or to resurrect them. And so Pharaoh was trying not to obey that by not letting them go, not letting them see their resurrection. So he wasn't obeying the gospel, and he said that he did not know Yahweh. And Yahweh took flaming, I'm getting in my preaching voice, and Yahweh took flaming vengeance on Pharaoh down there in Egypt. Another scripture that came to mind was Psalms.
When you get through, Carla, I want to share one thing.
Okay. Psalm 78:49, where it says, this whole chapter, he talks about he sent diverse sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. He gave also their increase unto caterpillar and their labor unto locusts. He destroyed their vines with hail and the sycamore trees with frost.
Yes.
He gave up their cattle also to hail, and And he cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. Yahweh called those plagues evil angel.
Wow.
The death angel was an evil angel from Yahweh. So when he said, Ai, Asher, Ai, I will be what I will to be, he is the whole show. He said, I will show forth my power in Pharaoh, not outside of him, but in him. He couldn't do no more than Yahweh told him to do. So when you go over here to Exodus, the 10th chapter, like y'all read, the last chapter that y'all read, it says, Yahweh said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh, for I, Yahweh, have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him, and that thou mayest tell in the ears of thy sons what Yahweh did. And so, and Moses and Aaron came unto Pharaoh and said unto him, thus said Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? What are you talking about, Yahweh? You the one said you hardened his heart. Well, he ain't got no choice about it. But this is Yahweh. Yahweh's playing both sides of it. He's running the whole show. He's operating both mysteries. He's operating both mysteries. And then, so when you go over here to where it says, third chapter, where he told Moses to take his shoes from off his feet, the place whereon you stand is holy ground. What made that ground holy? And we're going to answer your 2 questions, Miguel, in just a second. What made the ground holy, Father? Let me get this off the screen real quick. All right. What made the ground holy, if I can show my screen. I know we always say the presence of Yahweh, and that is true. The presence of Yahweh always makes everything holy. But the reason why he said that to Moses was because this backside of the mountain where Moses was standing, and the reason why he got it off here is to show different pictures. But where Moses really was standing was here. He was standing right where the holy place was going to be built. Moses was standing here, and the burning bush was here. The burning bush was here, and Moses was standing here. Because the reason why he said the ground was holy, because that's exactly where he was going to actually build the tabernacle, is where Moses was standing. But for picture's sake, you have to have Moses standing off to the side so you can see the different pictures in the scenario. But in one of the transcripts, he talked about the burning bush having to be where the Ark of the Covenant was, because it's picking up that Shekinah flash. And so the burning bush was here. Moses was standing here in the holy place. And then Miguel had a question. I'm going to go ahead and let you say what you're going to say, Ms. Dorothy, and then I get the question.
And when Dorothy finished, can I just have one more scripture based on what we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, I can go ahead, Carla.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to share this here because the Father just showed this to me, and it's just basically what you just kind of said. I also Yahweh is, and you know what he showed me? Now, he sought Pharaoh up from the beginning. Now, remember when Joseph went down into Egypt? And then, and this is how Pharaoh and them got rich, because there was that famine, and everybody was coming buying food. So what Pharaoh did, they got rich. Egypt got rich and powerful. But when that good Pharaoh died, and that evil Pharaoh came in, you see Yahweh's, just like you said, he's doing the whole show. He saw him up from the beginning. He made Egypt a powerful nation. And he brought it down. You see what I'm saying? He made them a powerful nation, as you know what I'm saying? Why? Because they had all those treasure cities from that famine. And everybody was coming out there buying food. They had all those, you know what I'm saying? He saw them up from the beginning. He made them. And so that's why Pharaoh thought he was a god, because he had all these treasure cities and all this stuff. So they treated him like a god. He thought he was a god. And Yahweh saw them up and showed him, I'm the truth. I'm the only Elohim that there is. And I just wanted to share that, because that was just, he just showed me that. That was something.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. Very beautiful. Yes, ma'am. All right, Ms. Helen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think he speaks about what you just said in Exodus 9:16, for this cause have I raised thee up to show in thee my power. But what I want to go back to was 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, because that's going back to what we were talking about before, that he thought he was the same as Yahweh Elohim. He thought he was equal. He said he would be like the Most High.
Right.
So if you can pick up 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4 for me.
Yes, ma'am. Let me share my screen. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. Who opposes and exalted? Well, let me go above that. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called Yahweh,
Now,
or that
see,
is worshipped.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Because, see, that's what he was doing. He was opposing Yahweh, although Yahweh made him do it. He was opposing Yahweh down in the land of Egypt. Go on.
Or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim
So
sitteth in
he,
the temple of.
so he as Elohim. He as Elohim. Now we know what a tabernacle is. We know that we are really the tabernacle when you start talking about the reality of it. So he is Elohim, sit up, go on, in the temple.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Almighty sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is the mighty one.
Now see that that's not the spirit that was in the children of Yahweh Elohim. You see, but he said that he is sitting up in the temple. He's Elohim, and he think he's running something. I'm gonna be like the Most High. So I just thought I'd share that also.
Very good. Yes, ma'am.
So
That's perfect.
to finish that up, go on to the 17th chapter of Exodus. As yet exaltest thou thyself against my people, that thou wilt not let them go. That goes with that testimony we just read it about exalting himself, who opposed and exalted himself above all that is called Elohim. I just wanted to complete that in the 9th chapter, 17th verse.
And that was somebody's background is very loud. Hold on. Okay. I don't know whose background it is. I can get you. If you're not speaking, go ahead and get yourself out. You said Exodus, what was that, 17 and what show?
9:17, after the 16th,
Oh,
by this very deed have I raised thee up, and then the 17, as yet exaltest thou thyself against my people, that thou will not let them go. That goes with the 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, who oppose and exalt himself above all that is called Elohim.
That's right. And Yahweh said, Aya Asher Aya, or Aya Asher Aya, I will be what I will to be. I will be, right? And then Satan comes along, and then Yahweh says, besides me, there is none else. But Satan comes along and says, I will be like the Most High. He has to oppose all that is called Yahweh. So that's another good point. So
that's
the
right.
question,
That's
another
all
question.
he was doing through all these chapters. He was opposing Yahweh.
Oh, that's right. That is right. All right, so let's see. I got some loud background noise. Charmaine, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, I was gonna throw that in with what Dorothy said about Satan and all that. But on the 9 and 27, Pharaoh says, Yahweh is righteous and I and my people are wicked. So he had to admit, Yahweh brought him down, showing him that he wasn't the God, of Israel. He wasn't the God of down there in Egypt. So I thought that was pretty.
But see, that goes with what Yahweh said, every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess. Because even though he bowed down and confessed that, he still went straight to the lake. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
it wasn't unto salvation, it was unto destruction.
Exactly. That's right. And it's, I don't know if we got to that part yet where his people said, can't you see Egypt is already destroyed? Let these people go. But another thing that Yahweh did with that, with the rod, how he told Moses, Aya, Asher, Aya, I will be what I will be. And he demonstrated that by the rod and by him putting his hand in his bosom and by him taking the water and pouring it on the ground. When he got in front of Pharaoh, he allowed Aaron's rod to turn into the serpent. I'm gonna mute everybody out because there's too much noise. I can hear somebody. I don't know if somebody's driving or what it is, but okay, I think I got it. All right. So when they got into the Egyptians or whatever, and Aaron put his rod on the ground and turned into a serpent, then the Egyptians the Janus and Jambres, theirs turned into a serpent too. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rod, and they didn't have anything else to pick up. And so, like Dr. Kimmel was saying in the last transcript that we read, I don't know if it was the last one we read or not, maybe it was at the summit. Everything's blended right now. But in one of the transcripts we read sometime this week, he was saying that, how the rod is kind of like, the gospel of Yahshua is one that Aaron and them had. Then you had maybe the Roman Catholic Church. Then you had the Protestants. And so Aaron's rod, or the truth, swallowed up theirs, so where they didn't have anything to pick up anymore. But their heart still was hardened. And so when you go to these people, you tell them the truth, and you tell them, ain't no J, no Jesus, no J, no Jehovah. You tell them, the law is out. You ain't supposed to be serving the law. You're a Gentile. You didn't have the law in the first place. But the Yahshua fulfilled it, and you show them the scriptures. You show them how Yahweh is unity. You hit them with scripture after scripture after scripture after scripture to where they don't even have anything else to pick up. But they still cannot come to the truth. That is amazing to me. But what Yahweh's been doing it all along, so it's no marvel that these things happen. But Yahweh's still the same. He's doing the same thing now that he was doing back then. Those principles remain the same, different manifestations. So one of the questions that came up was, let me pull it up real quick. Let's see, where my questions at? Let me stop sharing my screen because I can't see my question. Here we go. All right, so one of the questions, why is it that Yahweh sometimes had Aaron hold up the rod and stretch out his hand, and then Moses stretch out his hand and hold up the rod? What is there a spiritual significance or principle to them pouring out the plagues this way? And so what I want to do is, because if you look at it, for the first several, Yahweh told Aaron to stretch forth his rod, and then one time he told Moses to take his rod, but then a couple of times Yahweh said, I'm going to do this, and then nobody have to hold up no rod, period. And another time, Yahweh told him to grab the dust and throw it in the air, and the rod wouldn't involve either. So I want to look at these and kind of break them down plague by plague and see what they had to do for each plague, and see if we can number them and come up with, if we can figure out what the spiritual significance is in that. The next question, let's see, Moses in the ark. Oh, so a lot of times we say that Moses cried and Pharaoh's daughter sent out, somebody to get them because she heard the boy, they cried. But the scriptures don't say it. The scriptures actually say she saw the ark and had one of the maidens to fetch the ark. And when she got the child out of the ark, then he wept. Then he cried. He didn't cry and she heard him crying and then saw the ark. She actually saw the ark first and then he cried. And then there was something else. Oh, how do we know that was Aaron back there? And how do we know that Pharaoh's son was the one that Moses killed? Let's see. So I'm going to share my screen again. The name of this transcript, I think on the second one, is, go all the way up. How to do it. First National Convention, Exodus and Aaron's Rod. Okay. So, I'm not sure what page this is, but here it says, so now to make a long story real short and try to get at the story so you can see what I'm talking about. Aaron was 3 years older than Moses. Always the oldest in the family, they become an heir to the father's estate. So now Aaron was the oldest, but he's over there in Pharaoh's daughter's house. Now Moses made that fatal mistake, so the devil would think, and he slew one of Pharaoh's family, that sisters that raised him up, that sister that raised him up, brother. He took Aaron, his older brother's rod, staff or cane, and slew this Egyptian, and he buried him in the sand. Now this is part I want y'all to pay attention to, too. There were some Hebrews watching, and they saw, and they didn't say anything. So the next day, Moses gets out, and he sees a couple of Hebrews fighting against one another, And he goes up to them and said, now you brethren, you ought not. You can see I'm a Hebrew, and you know I'm with you, and I got a pool. I'm trying to put it so you can see what I'm talking about. And he thought that his Hebrew brethren ought to have seen and know that he was over there and had pulled with Pharaoh and them because he's over there in their house. This is what they said to him. Now, who made you a judge over us? Pharaoh didn't appoint you as a Hebrew to be a Hebrew out there knocking us around. I'm trying to explain it so you can understand it. He didn't make you a judge. Who made you a judge over us? Assuming that they ought to have known that since he was over there with them, that he have the pool with them. Can y'all mute yourself out because I hear a whole bunch of distortion. And this is what they said to him. Will thou slay us also as you did that Egyptian and hide him in the sand? That is to say, we seen you. Will you kill us and hide us in the sand as you did that Egyptian? Moses being there with Pharaoh's daughter and knocking off her brother, he knows that wasn't going to work so well. So he took Aaron's rod or Aaron's staff and fled out of Egypt. He departed out, taking Aaron, his brother's possession, his rod and staff. Where did it come from? With the staff. I just told you about Jacob and how it come down, how he blessed the 12 and passed it down. I just told you about that. Did you recognize that? I'm showing you where he got it from and how it passed on down in the old, so blah, blah, blah. So my point is, when the reason why they called it Aaron's rod sometimes and Moses' rod, because it was Aaron's rod to begin with, because Aaron being the oldest son of out of the house of Levi, they normally, so when you have the 12 sons of Jacob, when Jacob was getting ready to bless them before he died, all of them, all the oldest of each tribe, they all had a staff or a rod, because remember when he talked about Judah, how the scepter wouldn't leave out of his hand, and different things like that, and about the rod of this and rod that, and so all of them had a rod. And so Levi's household, the staff or the rod was passed down to the eldest, to the eldest, to the eldest. So when it got to Aaron, Amram passed it down to Aaron. So Aaron had the rod because he was the eldest out of that household. And then so when Moses was out there and he saw the Egyptians fighting the Hebrew, that's how you know it was Aaron, his brother, because he took the rod. That's the only way he could have had Aaron's rod. He took Aaron's rod and slew the Egyptian with the rod. There's the spiritual principles in that Dr. Kinley goes through in several different transcripts. But he took Aaron's rod and slew the Egyptian, buried him in the sand. Now he said there were some Hebrews watching and they saw and they didn't say anything. So it wasn't Aaron that rose up against Moses the next day. It was the one that was in the wrong that saw Moses do those things the day before, but didn't say anything. Because Moses thought that they would have understood that he had pulled Pharaoh because he was already in Pharaoh's house. Y'all should, kind of let me help y'all. We brethren, we be brethren. So that's what he talks about over there in Acts, the 2nd chapter 2. Moses thought his brethren would have understood how that Yahweh, by his hand would deliver them out. But anyway, so I just wanted to point that out. That's how we know it was Aaron's rod. And then also that was not Aaron that rose up against Moses the second day. And then I want to show y'all this real quick. If y'all want to kind of look, yes, ma'am, Maria.
Hi. Oh my good. I'm over here I'm shouting because today I was looking for that transcript in particular because of the previous discussion about the Egyptian being slain. And we were talking about, I think somebody was talking about Pithom and Ramses, the treasure cities.
Mm-hmm.
And and I had heard it preached that Pithom was the Egyptian who had been killed, Pharaoh's sons. And so Ramses, there was Ramses 1 and there's Ramses 2. And so in that transcript you just pulled up, it said that it was the brother, he was the brother of the sister that
raised Moses up.
Raised Moses up. Okay, so I'm screaming about that. But also, while I was looking for that, Carla, I came across 2 Exoduses. It's a transcript called 2 Exoduses, right? And it's talking about Moses Can I just read it real quick? Because I can't say it.
Yes.
I'm so excited right now. Y'all don't know. I'm saying hallelujah over here when you reading that transcript. But let me just read.
Let me see if I can find it real quick too.
Okay. So this is the 2 Exoduses, and I don't know what page it is, but Dr. Kinley says, now somebody said, I don't understand what you're talking about. Now you see the burning bush here? See that fire there? Now go on back. Hello?
Yes. Somebody
Can
can,
you hear me?
whoever it is, I can, but it's a lot of distortion. Mhm.
Okay.
There we go.
So he says, now go on back here in the Garden of Eden, at the tree. Adam and them didn't have no clothes at all and wasn't ashamed. Yet now you watch that flaming sword. Watch that burning bush. Keep your eye on it. When that woman touched that tree, there come that law. Said, that ain't you. You getting it now. What's he got? Got the flaming sword. Flaming sword. Okay, now I'm gonna come down. Each and every little word. Now look, now that's a burning bush. What do you want to tell? Why you keep stressing about a burning bush? You done said that, so what? Now if you go inside of the tabernacle, now some of you are gonna have to help me. What I'm trying to do is explain now. You go inside the tabernacle, right there you got a golden candlestick. Now there was never supposed to be no darkness at all in there. And that candlestick had to be lit 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now Moses, he's getting ready to carry the flock back in. The day just about come to a close. And as he started to go in, he looked and sees a burning bush. So he turned aside, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. See how they got that fire on there? Now, we'll be right back in that fire pretty soon. Now, my point was on that is we say all the time that the tabernacle, everything goes by the tabernacle. And we were talking about Midian and Moses being in the land of Midian, and he's at the burning bush. We can tell what time he saw that burning bush.
Based
on the tabernacle. And how they correlate. Now that's beautiful to me. That's why I raised my hand, because you were right there and I was looking for the transcript that you were reading and talking about. I'm just saying that Yahweh is amazing and that he is teaching us. He is teaching his son. Yes, he is. And that's all I got to say.
Very, very good. Very good. I can hear it in your voice, son. You just excited. Very good. Because you know you'll never always say that. Right. Okay. All right. And I did. I have went back to go try to find where he said that Pithom and Ramses were the sons of the name of Pharaoh's sons, and I couldn't find it in the transcript or in the textbook. And I called Dr. Allen, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, and he said that Dr. Kinley never said what their names were, but because you can't prove it by the scriptures don't say anything about their names. So he said it's best not to put that in there if you can't prove that by the scriptures, but you can prove by the scriptures that Moses did kill Pharaoh's oldest son. And the way you prove it by the scriptures is that, for one, why else would Pharaoh want to kill him? But two, when the death decree came out, the Pharaoh that was on the throne, he didn't die. So that means he was not the firstborn. His older brother was dead already, and that's how you pick up that Moses killed the older, that's how you can actually prove that by the scriptures. But he was saying that he didn't, he's like, I don't know of any transcript or anywhere in the textbook where it says what the name of Pharaoh's sons were at all. But I do remember, I know my husband said, but he remember saying something about one of the Pharaoh's names was Ramses, the 18th dynasty, but it doesn't say whether or not Pharaoh's sons were named after the treasure cities and da-da-da-da. So I didn't see it. I don't know if anybody else had found it or not yet, but I haven't found it because I was trying to find it for this call so we can actually go back over it again, but I didn't see it myself when I looked for it. Go ahead.
How do you raise your hand? I can't raise your hand, but I do have a comment on it. So whenever I get a moment, you can let me know.
No, go ahead.
Okay, that same transcript that you was reading, Carla, I pulled it up too, and I did some highlights to be able to share because I knew the question would come up. And that very same transcript that you was reading, it says, so then after Moses grew up and he got so he could support himself and take care of himself, then it's right above when he slew one of Pharaoh's family. That's where I'm at. And I'm
Okay,
saying,
got it.
page 4. Okay, you got it. Okay, so then after Moses grew up and he got so he could support himself and take care of himself, then he goes over into Pharaoh's daughter's house and he's raised up there in Pharaoh's daughter's house. We oftentimes mess things up and say it was Pharaoh's house, but she was in the family and it was Pharaoh's daughter. Now, that's where he said Pharaoh had 2 sons. So he's saying that Pharaoh only had 2 sons. Now, if you do in order to find out if those sons was a name on the treasure cities, you're going to have to do some research, historian research. Now, he's saying there that Pharaoh had 2 sons, and it's only 2
No,
sons.
yeah, we know that. Yeah, we know he had 2 sons, but the point.
You interrupted me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sugar. Go ahead, Sugar. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sugar.
I'm done.
Okay. But no, the only part I get that part. Like we are in agreement with that for sure.
But
But
see,
what
I
I
would
was saying,
I would like to get a complete train of thought out before I'm interrupted.
oh, that's what I said. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, we ain't gonna do all that now. I wasn't trying to interrupt you like that, darling. Go ahead. Everybody's been interrupting people all night tonight, but go ahead. I wasn't trying to do that on purpose like that. Go ahead. I'm not like that. Go ahead.
So he's only naming 2 sons in Exodus. And now there's another way that you can prove that it was Ramses of the 18th dynasty. I might have to go dig up a transcript to prove that too. But when you go into Exodus, when he pursued the children of Israel in the Red Sea, you'll find it was 6 horses, 6 men, and 6 chariots. And that's identifying Ramses back there that was in Egypt as being of the Ramses the 2nd of the 18th dynasty. These are things that Dr. Kinley brought out in other transcripts. Now, he only identified 2 sons' names, and we know that Ramses was one of his sons because he was sitting on the throne. The other son was Pithom. Now, you might not go read, well, his name was Pithom, but he's telling you in so many principles that he only had 2 sons. One was Ramses, and the other was Pithom. So if it wasn't Pithom, where was the other son? Give me an example where you can find another son of Pharaoh, because he only had 2. That's my question.
Oh, okay. But yeah, all I was saying before that was what Dr. Allen was. I was just saying what Dr. Allen was saying that because I was trying to get him to find the transcript and then it takes 4 minutes so I can share it with this call. He said that he doesn't recall Dr. Kinley ever teaching or preaching about or teaching about Pharaoh's the name of his 2 sons, period, at all. And he said that the reason why is because Dr. Kinley always told him that you couldn't. It's nowhere in the scriptures where it names the sons of Pharaoh, but what you can prove by the scriptures is that Moses killed the oldest son of Pharaoh. And so he was like, I can't find it, but if anybody else find it, let me know and read it to me, because he's like, I would just leave it alone. That's the only point I was making. But it wasn't in the, offending anybody. I wasn't trying to offend nobody when I said it. I was just saying what Dr. Allen said because I was trying to bring it up in this class, whatever. Wasn't trying to do it like that at all.
So let me apologize because I wasn't accused you of anything. It's just that I was trying to say, let me complete my train of thought, because sometimes when you get cut off like that, the flow doesn't. Now, it also says that he slew one of Pharaoh's family. Now, that was Pharaoh's brother that was slew. We know Ramses was one of her brothers. Is that right?
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. My husband said he saw in the transcript where he said that one of Pharaoh's name was Ramses, whatever, out of 18th dynasty. But I'm not sure if it was the Pharaoh that knew. I can't remember which Pharaoh it was.
Well, what I'll try to do, Carl, is find a transcript where Dr. Kinley was explaining that, because one of the lectures we gave to prove that's when we went over to Exodus when Moses was leaving up out of Egypt with the children of Israel, and Pharaoh pursued him. And Yahweh caused his chariots to be dug in the ground. And you read that Pharaoh went up, it was 6 horses, 6 men, and 6 chariots. And that's how we prove that there was 666, the mark of the beast. And Ramses was Ramses II of the 18th dynasty, which is a manifestation of 666. So, but I'll try to find
hold
some
on just a second. Hold on just a second, Miss Paula. I was muting you out because your background was loud and I couldn't understand you telling. If you give me just a second, Miss Paula. Hold on just a second. I wasn't trying to mute you out on purpose to try to block you, but whenever you came in, it was cutting Miss Helen off. Yes, ma'am, that's fine, Miss Helen. But you ain't got to spend too much time on it anyway, because the best part about all of it is it's not unto salvation anyway, whether or not we know his Pharaoh's son's name or not. As long as we know the name of Yahweh's son, we good anyway. So no, you ain't got to waste too much time on it. If you find it, that's fine. If not, ain't no big deal. What you were going to say? I know Jay has his hand up, but Miss Paula, were you going to say something too? Is why you were unmuting yourself?
All the kings of Egypt were called Ramses.
You said what, Jay?
All the kings of Egypt were called Ramses.
Right. That's what my understanding was, but I can't prove it yet without. So I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to say anything that I can't prove right now. But that's what I thought. That was Ramses III, Ramses IV, Ramses. Huh?
They were called what? What did you say?
Ramses. Somebody got a lot of distortion. Okay, I can hear better now. Who was that saying something?
I was saying, what did Jay say? I couldn't hear for the distortion.
Yeah, he was. Hold on. What I think it's Miss Paula's phone got distortion in it. But what Jay was saying, all of the pharaohs' names were Ramses. They were called Ramses. All of the pharaohs were called Ramses. Like you have Ramses the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way to the 18th dynasty of Ramses, is what he was saying. Go ahead, Miss Paula.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. You got a lot of background noise. It's hard to hear you.
I am so sorry. Is it any better?
It's better now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What I wanted to say is so beautiful because the 2 Exodus, just to show the unity of the spirit, I just emailed that to a brother, and Yahweh spirit. I've been over just crying and giving praise.
That's good. Very good.
And the second thing I want, because I was reading when Maria was reading, and the second thing I wanted to bring up was that in Titus, the 3rd chapter, it says, I'll start it, this is the basic saying of these things that thou affirms. Specifically, the things which have believed in Yahshua might be careful to maintain his work. These things did impossible unto men, but avoid foolish questions and genealogy, and contentions and slidings about the law, but they are unprofitable in vain. So like you just said, I agreed with Dr. Watson because I have heard that talk before, and I too was looking for it, but as you just said, Yahshua is the Savior, so using all the, the time and the energy, that just, to me, that just shows how that old boy tried to get in and stir things up, because it don't matter. Right. Because we're all going to have our own reality about the thing until the show's there. And if Yahweh wants us to see it, he'll bring us back to it. It's like he brought us all to Exodus transcript. I mean, I was crying. I was in the kitchen doing something else. Started watching. So it was so beautiful how I just thank you yesterday, and I just emailed it to another brother this morning. We had been something together, and we had something together, and it came up. So I'll praise Father Yahweh, and we are all family, and it's just beautiful to know that you didn't have to get stuck. And I don't know when you just brought to me Christ's 3rd and the 9th chapter. I thought that really true. Avoid foolish questions and genealogy. We brother, we're hung up on the things and the righteousness and people of the joy of it. It's so beautiful. And to me, it's so beautiful because you all have each other. And he just put me in a position where I can pick up the phone. I can't go feel that. But I see you all the spirit and truth, and that's the beauty of Joshua. That's the beauty of the love story of how Yahweh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can, I don't know what that noise is. I can hardly hear you now again.
I don't know what it is.
Okay. Satan just don't want us to hear it. Get on down,
now?
Satan. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's a
Can
lot
you hear me
better.
now?
That's perfect. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, I had my earbud on and I just unmuted my phone. But yeah, it's just, the unity of the spirit. I was in the kitchen doing something totally different when Maria clicked in. I ran in the room just crying and shouting. Because he just had me print that. He just had me print that transcript out yesterday, and I just emailed it to someone else this morning. And that shows the beauty and the unity of the spirit. There's no big I's and little O's, and we are family. And I brought up the 12 tribes because one of the doctors, the deans, brought to my attention there was 12 tribes, and they all had different personalities, and they all had different functions. And we as different branches have different personalities and different perceptions. But what it comes down to is a love of this gospel. And Yahshua, this is Yahweh's love story. When we meet together to feed and sup, we know that old boy go try, yet we don't have to give way to that.
Yep.
And I'm not saying this I'm talking to me. This is not for anybody else, but for me. And, and if somebody is supposed to hear this, I don't know who's supposed to hear that, but a lot of the brethren have each other physically. Yahweh has me in a position where I can't go to nobody physically. Don't nobody come to me physically. All I have are you guys in spirit, truth, and love. You are my family. So
I understand, Paula. I'm the same way. I don't have nobody either. I just have all you guys, my spiritual family.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
I
did find
honey.
something about that Ramesses thing, and it's under an exegetical analysis of Daniel's prophecy of the 1260 days, 1290 days, 1335, and that was as revealed to Dr. Lee Warren. And that's the only place I see that with Ramesses. He says in there that where he's of the 18th dynasty. But we love you,
I've
Paula.
never read. Yeah. Let me show y'all this real quick. This is where I get all the things that I look up from, if y'all want to use it for your own good. So whenever I go to the pattern of everything, and it has all the transcripts in it, if I'm looking for a particular transcript of anything in it, I type in, am I spelling it right? Python? No, I'm spelling it wrong. All right, let me try to spell it right then. How do you spell Python?
I think it's P-I-T.
Oh, P-I-C-H-O-M.
Yes.
Okay, so this pulls up all of the transcripts that has Pithom in it. And it's just two, the Elohim book and Exodus 1 has Pithom in it. And the references that it makes the Pithom style, click on this, and then I will click on these three little dots and click on find, and then type it again, Pithom. And it shows me how many times in this particular transcript is written. And the first time they talked about, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And then I go to the second reference here, and it says the same thing, building the treasure cities of Pithom and Ramses, and the papacy of the So in this particular transcript, it doesn't have anything other than the cities. This is the way I was trying to find it. And then when I couldn't find it, I called Dr. Allen. And the same thing in Exodus 1, it does the same thing. It talks about the city. So then I went to not that it even is that serious, but just so y'all kind of have some kind of way to search transcripts without having to go through each transcript separately. You can actually do it this way. Ramses, same thing. And it's the same two references. These are the only two references Dr. Kimley made of the transcripts or archetype book that's on the Pattern of Everything. And so that's why I called Dr. Allen, because I know he has some that are not on this website. But he said that he didn't know of any either. But one of the brethren did share this with me, this link here. It's a list of the rulers of ancient Egypt and Nubia. And so it lists all of them from the third all the way down, and it tells when they ruled. And when children of Israel came up out of Egypt, it was in, I think, 1490 BC. And so if you go to 1490 BC, you look at all the different ones. 1490 BC, it lists the different names of the pharaohs that were in Egypt back there, and these are their names here. But when it got to Ramses, that was the 19th dynasty. We got Ramses the first. We got Ramses the first, Ramses the second, and then when you get to the 20th dynasty, you got all of the Ramses: Ramses third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, Ramses or whatever. But this is according to, like, as far as if you're gonna research But like I said, either way, I searched it again. Yep, that's the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Carla.
Whose timeline is this? Is this real?
Hey, Carla.
Hey, yes, Renee.
Hi, this is Renee. I just want to admonish everyone. I do a lot of history reading. So when you try to go out and you look for Ramesses,
mm-hmm.
based on the historian's own perception of history,
mm-hmm.
they're going to put different timelines on these different pharaohs.
Right.
Right.
So you have to be careful when you're doing that history research, because a lot of the historians are writing from their own personal prejudices of what history is, and they also use kind of what they call carbon dating to try when these pharaohs actually existed. So you got to kind of take what you read with a grain of salt when you look at it.
I actually never look at that type of stuff anyway. I only go to the transcripts in the Bible, to be honest with you. And if I can't prove it, out of scriptures, I leave it alone anyway. But that's good to know too, though.
And I had this conversation with another member in class a couple of weeks ago, and she ran into that situation. She was looking for Ramesses in the 18th dynasty, and you can't find it. We went to like 3 different historians. They either put it in the 19th or they put it in the 20th. Or you understand what I'm saying? So it tends to throw people off because it's not matching what we're teaching in the school, is all I'm saying.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I just want to caution everyone that the historians didn't have a divine vision and revelation. So
that's right.
They're writing from their own personal, prejudices, and they're writing about events that they weren't even there.
Right. Yeah.
And
I don't even. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to just say that when you start to go out and research like that.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you for that. I was just sharing what somebody had sent to me to put on here, but I normally don't even like to do it that way. I just go to the transcripts or the Bible, and if I don't, the witnesses by the law and the prophets, then I'm not gonna do it. I just stay away from it, even if it's true. I'm not saying it's not true. But if I can't prove by the law and the prophets, I just leave it alone, period, and just kind of.
Me too.
I hold in my heart. I just hold in my heart. I ain't gonna say, "Oh, you wrong. Well, that's not true." I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
If that's true, that's fine. But Yahweh hadn't showed it to me by the scripture, so I'm just gonna sit tight on it, and that's just fine. But I will always ask for witnesses, though. No, not trying to offend anybody. That's just how, and not to be offensive and like that. This is what I do. I want you to do me the same way.
No, I
do
the same thing too, but I know sometimes people get they get confused, right? Because they're trying to match what I call worldly history or secular history, right, with the Bible, and a lot of times it's not going to match up because they really don't know. They're just going by what they think happened and by other people's accounts. Down through the years. So that's all. And I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Very good. My husband just pointed out that also it's spelled a little differently too in the transcript and in the Elohim book. So this is another spelling that I looked up in the Cabinet of Everything, and so this pulls up where it talks about because I know he's the one that said that he had read where he said Ramses was the 18th dynasty, but it says Yahweh raised up Pharaoh in parentheses Ramses. The typical beast man, and then he talks about particular Pharaoh, and then so in this one it says a 3 days journey that's from Ramesses to the Red Sea, which is talking about the city Ramesses.
Right.
And then here's two from Ramesses the city to the Red Sea. Now here comes Pharaoh Ramesses. That king was named. So he says that Pharaoh was named Ramses, and then the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, which is the city from Ramesses to Succoth, and the land of Ramesses. So these are different parts that my husband pointed out that you spell it this way if you want to pull up the different things he said about Ramesses as well. So just so y'all kind of have an idea of how to actually search some of the transcripts without having to go to each and every transcript or whatever. So that's another thing. But we didn't get to answer Miguel's question. So maybe that'll be part of our assignment. I'm sorry, babe. Here you go. There you go. Thank you. But I did want to show y'all this real quick, and you can always pull it up on Google. But this is the different plagues, the 10 plagues that were on Egypt. It talks about the gods that Yahweh destroyed with each one of those plagues. Like when he turned the water into blood, he destroyed these 3 gods that were in Egypt, and these are those 3 gods were about. So Hathor was the spirit of the Nile River, the guardian of the river source. You had all these gods where Egypt worshipped these rivers and things like that. And so when Yahweh turned the water into blood, then, and they called on these gods, and these gods couldn't do nothing about it. Yahweh destroyed those gods. Not that those gods ever existed, but where the gods were destroyed at was where they were built at. Those gods were built in the people's minds, and Yahweh destroyed it in their minds. Same thing is going on to this day. Yahweh, he is wreaking havoc on all of the gods down here in this world because the coronavirus, locusts, everything is going on, and they're calling on their gods, and nothing's happening. Same thing with the frogs. David, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I see your hand raised. Go, David.
Yeah, I had it raised a while ago. I was trying to get in, but I understand we got
I'm sorry.
people off. It's no problem. I was just going to take some of your thunder where you're going with that, because that's where I wanted to get back to that with Moses down there, because that Moses took down into Egypt was the first ever monotheistic belief that was put on the earth plane. And it truly is the only one. So when Yahweh went down there, he basically, like you're explaining here now, he basically, as he's doing today, he destroyed or he judged all of the kings, all of the gods that were in Egypt. And he basically showed that he was truly Yahweh, or he was the only one. And so when you look out here now, we have the truth. And the fact that it repeats itself over and over again gives us the solace to be still and know who we are, just by the things that we're seeing today. These sessions are great to, as y'all were just saying about the scripture, about the transcripts, seeing the unity of the spirit. It's incumbent on us to keep it in the spirit and keep it up out of the natural, and see all that Yahweh is doing, because the other thing you have there is you got Moses operating in the more and greater perfect tabernacle with those gods, and taking them and making them as if, making them to show that they don't exist. So as it is in a man's consciousness, so that you can find out and truly have faith and confidence in the fact that Yahweh is the truth, just by the witnesses that he has laid down for us. But the way you're going at it with talking about those gods, we're living that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and not just the world outside of us.
Exactly.
But where did Yahweh say he put the world at?
In the man. That's right.
Yahweh put the world in the man. So Yahweh destroying our gods too. Let's not act like we didn't have or don't have gods too.
That's
right.
We may not be worshiping, Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, nothing like that. Yeah, we worship Yahweh, but then when times get hard, you go on asking everybody else for help without even seeking. Should the people not seeking to their Elohim?
That's right.
Why are you seeking among the dead instead of seeking to your Elohim? As if they can do something for you. So we have our own gods too, and what Yahweh is doing for the sons, he's perfecting us. And we are our biggest God. Us, ourselves. We are so caught up in our own self that it is ridiculous. We need to sit down somewhere. I'm talking about me too.
So that's why it's so important to understand that the ministry of reconciliation and what the reconciliation is not about me, you, and the other. It's about that you are Yahweh. That's the ministry, or that's how you're going to get rid of those gods. Because anything that's not Yahweh, it's got to go. The bottom line, nothing else has that kind of power. That includes you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? As Dr. Kelly used to tell him, he said, when you take it all to the trash, then you get up on that too. Because you got to go also. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's not about you. So
and look at how y'all. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. I thought you were done. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm just excited.
Go ahead. I'll come back. Go ahead.
Okay, so all I was gonna say, the point I was trying to make with this, bringing up this chart, because I know we looked at this chart before, but I have a point I'm trying to make with this chart. So we see how Yahweh was destroying these gods, and the way he destroyed these gods, he attacked what Egypt thought, or the Egyptians thought that those gods were capable of doing. And so when Yahweh attacked what they thought that those gods were capable of doing, and those gods did not answer, that's what destroyed those gods in their head. And so the same thing now with us. When we make plans, when we think that something's supposed to go this particular way, and it does not go the way that we think it's supposed to go, Yahweh is destroying those gods out of our head. When money fails, you got enough money in your pocket, but you still can't do nothing with it. Or when you don't have enough money in your pocket, and just whatever it is that we think that can do something other than Yahweh, even ourselves, when we make plans and think that, I can fix this, or this is my child, I could do this for my child, I could do that for my child, and Yahweh don't even let you do nothing for your own child because you weren't taking care of your child in the first place.
That's right.
And the same thing, not even just your child, but look, even when it comes to preaching this gospel, how many, by show of hands, you ain't got to show your hands, how many times have you got on the floor and Yahweh's been, somebody showed you beautiful things, and when you get ready to try to express it, it won't even come out right. What is Yahweh doing? Because it's not you preaching it. You thought you was going to get up and tell somebody something about Yahweh. You thought you was going to get up and tell somebody what Yahweh done showed you and how you done got this beautiful revelation. It wasn't you in the first place. It's Yahweh. Yahweh done made us sit down so many times and destroy every thought that we had other than what was reality. And that's why Paul said, I die daily. And it doesn't feel good. It's humiliating. It hurts. Death hurts. It hurts. It hurts to let your children go. It hurts. It hurts to let your family members go. It hurts. It hurts to get humiliated or embarrassed, or you outspoke this or you spoke this wrong. It hurts. But I much rather hurt on this side and get it right than to be eternally. Y'all better listen to what I'm saying now. So my whole point is the same way Yahweh operated then is the same way he operates now. Yahweh made his ways known to Moses and his acts known to the children of Israel, and he is still doing the same thing now. And so the beauty in us going back to the law and the prophets, reading the things that we are reading, I don't want you guys to get so caught up on what's in the book. And the reason why I'm asking y'all the questions I asked, just so certain things will stick. So you start paying attention when you're reading, and so certain things stick, because it doesn't really matter what Moses' son's name were. It don't even matter what his mom and dad's name was. But it's just to make sure that you were paying attention, close attention to when you're reading. So when you get in the habit of reading that way and not just reading carelessly and just breezing through it, and now you're paying attention to every word and every detail that you're reading, that's when Yahweh begins to open it up and start showing you. But right now what we're doing, we're forming habits of studying. That's why I'm asking you the questions that I'm asking you, the trivial questions that I'm asking that has nothing to do with salvation. But the reason why I'm asking you these things, the reason why we're going through the test, not tests, but the questions and the teams and the lightning rounds and things like that, just so you can get used to looking for details. Because when you look for Yahweh, he shows up. That's where you find him. He put it in you to seek after him. So the reason why I'm going at it the way that I am, and I promise you, I got tough skin. It don't bother me at all. Y'all, if y'all want to beat up on me, or y'all, if I'm doing something wrong, if y'all feel like y'all want to show me, it won't hurt my feelings if y'all tell me, look, you need to do it this way, or this is not the right way. I don't think you should do it that way. If I feel like it's good for the body, we'll move another way. But y'all can tell me it won't hurt my feelings if y'all feel like we need to do something different. But moving forward, though, the reason why I have specific reasons why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. I'm going off of what y'all was showing me how to do these different things. And the reason why we're doing it this way is just for the sake of forming a habit of studying. Y'all had to show us how to read all over again. He had to show us how to study all over again. We thought we knew how to do it. And even though we've read these things a million times, especially us that have been in class forever, you still go, when you go back and read it again, you still see something new because Yahweh is just. He rewards you for your obedience. And so that's why we're going back looking at these things, and y'all was just tightening up and fine tuning some of the things that because remember when we used to say, Meridian class, remember when we used to say, and then the children of Israel went down to a land that they knew not of. Remember how we used to say that all the time?
Yeah.
And the land that went to a land that they knew not of. They knew what Egypt was. That wasn't right. We were saying that wrong, but everybody said it. Everybody said it. Mm-hmm. But we didn't know that we were saying it wrong. We were just saying because we heard it way back in the day. I heard the older people saying it. The older people heard somebody else saying it. Da 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 da. But then Yahweh had to come in. I don't even know who Yahweh used to correct it, but Yahweh made somebody go back and read it and point it out. That's not what the book said. That was a stranger in the land. It didn't say that they knew not of. They knew what Egypt was. That was going back down getting corn. How did people not know where Egypt was? You know what I mean? So Yahweh had to correct us on that. So the whole point of me saying that, like, now, since it's time to go home, y'all can expect it. You better expect that Yahweh is fixing to perfect everything that we've ever said out of our mouth as far as preaching his gospel. He's going to perfect it. But the way he's perfecting the body is by using the body. So it's not for me to get offended or you to get offended or she to get offended. That's not what this is. This is love. This is the body loving itself. So this is what we're doing. So I'm thankful. Anybody got any comments before we conclude the call? Will we way over again? Anybody got any comments or want to share anything before we conclude and I give y'all the assignment? Somebody got a phone ring if y'all want to mute yourself out. Thank you. Any comments? Okay, so since we didn't get a chance to answer that question about why it was Moses' ride sometimes and he say Aaron's ride the next time, that's going to be part of our assignment. So we're going to read Exodus 11 through 15. But in that, we're going to still kind of go back through those plagues. I want you guys to know each plague in order, know exactly how Yahweh put the plague on them, whether he said Aaron's rod or Moses' rod, have that next to it, have the scripture and verse where the plagues were, and have all 10 plagues in order for me, if y'all can have that ready, because we're going to do lightning round questions on that. And then we'll do popcorn with questions from Exodus 11 through 16, and then we'll do the 5-minute lightning round again from Exodus 1st chapter through the 15th chapter. So that's what we'll do next week. So be prepared for that. Make sure y'all caught up on or recap 1 through 10 again of Exodus, because we'll do lightning round again. So let me get y'all feedback anyway. So how do y'all feel about the lightning round and popcorn? How do y'all like that? How's that? Does that help?
Yes.
Yes. I have no problem with it.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Okay, cool. So we'll do that, and then we'll go through the plagues first, and then we may do popcorn with the plagues, but we'll go through the plagues first, and then we'll do the lightning round again from 1 through 15. See if we can get to 15. I don't even think we can get to 15 in an hour, but we're gonna try to get to 15 in an hour, and then
Can you hear me? Will you please? This is Phyllis. Will you please give me the assignment again?
Yes.
I want to write it down. Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, so we're going to read Exodus 11 through 15.
Okay.
And then we're going to go back to the plagues, and we're going to write down, we're going to learn each plague in order.
Okay.
And figure out how Yahweh told him to do, whether he told Aaron to hold up his rod or Moses to hold up his rod, or just figure out how Yahweh actually did the plagues and the scripture and the chapter and verse for those. But then we're also going to do questions and answers again through those 5 chapters, and then we'll do lightning round from 1st chapter to the 15th chapter. And if we don't get all the way to the 15th, fine. Go ahead.
This is so much fun. I'm gonna make sure I'm not working. I'm gonna make sure I'm not working. Yeah, but I had to do what I had to do today, but I missed out on it today. But I just finished up, so yeah, I'm going to be ready for next week. This is beautiful. See, I like this because this is very inspiring, and it makes you want to dig in and get what you need to get at the same time you're learning. I really appreciate you. I really do, because this makes you want to learn.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. Very good. Very good. That's good. That's awesome. I'm glad. I'm thankful to Yahweh, because Yahweh knows if it was up to me, I'd be sitting down somewhere, because Yahweh knows physically I'm tired. I'm worn out, tired. But when I do get with y'all and do this, whatever, it rejuvenates me, and I don't feel tired anymore. So till I get off the call and I'm back to life, back to reality. I'm tired again. So it actually helps me too when we have these classes and things like that. Like, I love it. I learn something every time we go through these things or whatever. Whenever y'all start going through it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, hey, look at that like that. Oh, that's beautiful. So I love it. Yes. I love it. Yes. Hallelujah. Yahweh knows how to teach his people, don't he? He loves us so much, y'all.
Cause see, I like doing things like that, because when I'm working with children, that's what I do. I do the same thing too. I try to give them assignments so that they can bring something to you, and it makes them happy to raise their hand. It makes them happy to raise their hand and have an answer for you. So see, when you're teaching somebody, you got to put something in front of them that they want to bite down on. Other than that, they're not gonna bite. It can't be the same thing. Yeah, you got to make it interesting. So I appreciate you. All right.
Yes, me too. I love it, Carla.
Very good, very good. I'm gonna give y'all a heads up. Y'all got maybe 3 more weeks before I put y'all against the kids.
Oh, they gonna kill us.
Okay, Carla.
They're gonna kill us. They're gonna kill us.
Where y'all at right now? Now, if they came up tonight, they watch Slow Child. Yeah, they watch Slow Child tonight. But okay, I'm gonna try to get y'all ready. But hopefully a fair fight by the time y'all get there in 3 weeks. We'll see.
I know you trying. You trying. But yeah, they'll smash us right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to slow them down to where y'all can catch up where they are. But those kids are something else. But I'm excited to because I'm trying to hurry up and I don't want to rush it, but I'm trying to hurry up and get us to the tabernacle, because that's y'all, it's some beautiful things with that pattern. Good.
But let me say this. Let me say this to Carla. This is what I know about. This is what I've understood about children and this teaching and what's going on with the people in this teaching. The older adults or the older people that's been around for a long time. See, that's what they got. They've been around for a long time, so that's what they have going. But children are like sponges; they absorb everything. See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
See, the older people that's been around this teaching for a long time, they have something they have something because they've been around a long time, hearing it over and over again. But children are like sponges. You give it to them, they're gonna suck it up. See, that's the advantage. That's the advantage that they have. That's why I say they're gonna get with us. I'm trying to catch up. See, I'm trying to catch up. But anyway, yeah. So I'm loving it.
Yes. It'll build their little confidence up too. So it's awesome. It'll build their confidence. Everybody benefit from it.
And if the adults lose, the adults can always say they let the children win. Okay.
Y'all know y'all heart. Y'all better not lie. But anyway, so I'm gonna correct you on that. So, Yahweh didn't tell Moses if he brought them up out of Egypt. He said when he brought them up out of Egypt. So I'm gonna say when the children win, then yeah. Don't be coming up if. Don't say if my babies win. I know my baby's gonna win.
Yeah, I tell you, because I'm listening to them. You know, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah.
I hear them.
I'm proud of them.
So
I'm so happy for them.
I appreciate them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
All right, then.
Okay.
I'm done. I said my part.
Okay. Next time, maybe we can catch some of the things that we didn't catch tonight. We missed a lot in Exodus 1:15. We didn't talk about when Moses had to circumcise his son before he got ready to go down to Egypt.
Right.
We didn't talk about. That's a lot we missed. So hopefully we can be able to watch this lecture this week and then kind of see how I'm sure you'll probably like, dang, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that, da, da, da. And 5 minutes is very short. But we have so many people, I can only do 5 minutes at a time per person. Otherwise, everybody wouldn't get a chance to go. And so, with y'all kind of having the idea of what we're going to be doing, then I think y'all be better prepared. We have more people to kind of participate anyway. And I'm going to watch the clock a little tighter, too. Some of y'all got an extra minute. All right. So any other questions or comments before we conclude?
Thanks again, Carla.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for participating. Y'all helping me. All right. Well, let's go ahead and conclude with the doxology then.
Okay.
All right. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, to Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all times, now and forever. Let us all say hallelujah.
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 Love you all,
God.
brothers. Love everybody.
Love y'all. Good night.
Love you all.